when it was the first time they played against each other. They've adapted, they've improved as well throughout the tournament.
Yeah, I'm curious if we're going to see something like a Strange ban, maybe somehow going after that Hulk or Namor. They did, Shroud X did have that conversation with Phelan. Dongman said much more comfortable on the Strange than anything, but will be able to pull out that Magneto by today. But, that kind of stuff, I'm wondering if that homework was, figured out. So I see the ban here immediately going to be on that Emma on the side of Techie, who are electing to do pretty much what you'd expect here if you're writing a standard ban lock situation.
Yep, looking pretty standard indeed. Human Torch getting removed as well for the side of Shroud X, getting rid of that on Techie XD side for Avery, making sure he can't play that hero. We'll see if they want to focus more towards Psylocke as well, as both teams can play Psylocke from what we've seen. So actually kind of, very similar playstyle wise. I think Shroud X can play that triple res composition, although I think as a unit, I don't know how good they are on triple res. I think that they have like the talent to play the triple res compositions. They also have, a really good Star-Lord player, like I said, in Doomed. I feel like he's one of the best Star-Lords in the game. But, around the triple res composition, it's not just about the Star-Lord, it's about the whole team. So we'll see what they want to do. They protected Wolverine, though, understanding how strong that hero is, like we've seen lately, right, Shib?
Yeah, Wolverine is a menace, especially against the Vanguards. Obviously, we talk about it all the time. It does essentially take the Vanguards out of the play if you don't have that invis or some sort of protection with a Loki crystal or something to negate that tackle. You're always on your heels and you're always saving cooldowns, and changing your style of play like that is so much value, and you always got to have eyes over your shoulder. It's terrifying to go against, especially at this level of play, and we just saw last map Cal with 20 final hits there, playing a ton of Wolverine.
So yeah, we're going on to Hell's Heaven. We're going to Domination. Captain America removed. Emma Frost removed. Focus more towards those Vanguards. Opposite side, we have Emma and Loki and Luna banned for the side of Shroud X. So we do have triple Strategist, triple Strategist with the Adam Warlock available, but usually I think triple strategist with Adam Warlock on Hell's Heaven isn't necessarily the best map for it. Usually I feel like on Domination, Shib, the number one comp that we're seeing a lot of, especially when Human Torch is banned, is that Namor, right? It feels like Namor, Hulk, that tandem can be very good. Also, we've seen how strong that full dive can be with Black Panther and stuff, but a lot of the good Black Panther players now out of the tournament, specifically Self, by a lot of the good Black Panther players. I mean, like the only good Black Panther player besides like Amazing and stuff, but that's definitely a viable option here.
Amazing did pop off on Clintar there in that first map. It was awesome to watch. Haven't seen it since, but you're right. Definitely a strong Black Panther that is now out of the tournament. But now we're going to get into the Psylocke conversation. Techie with one of the strongest Psylocks in TAP and also playing a mean Punisher, so we will see that. Look at these bets here. Techie only 21%, obviously favoring heavily into that recency bias of the past matches between these two teams.
The battle starts in 5.
I want to see what's played, right? I feel like that Namor stuff can be thrown out for Shroud X. I think that's actually, in my opinion, the best thing in this meta, right? We'll see how TAP does in the Psylocke. I think it is good, flankers especially, but without the Captain America, because that was banned, that might impact Techie in the performance. Regardless, I do feel like on Domination, we've seen so much good Namor play. It feels like it always wins. We'll see how it pans out, though. Shroud X versus Techie is beginning, and I mean, both of these teams definitely want to win map number 1, because if they don't, that's a bad precipice moving forward, as both these teams, if they lose this series, they are done out of the Ignite series.
Dongman already on point and with the team. Avery going to take that space right back here with Blur. That fastball special ready to be used if need be. The tackle out just to buy some time. I don't believe the passive was popped just yet, as the space is owned here by Techie around this natural cover, and the point is not quite moving just yet. Doomed with the throw. Try to find something, but no, this is a decent map for Wolverine just due to the off angle. You can actually find an off map here if you tackle from the right side, which is very threatening, and we might see it right now. No, not able to do so. His vision, great focus there. Down goes Avery, and we talk about the success of Namor into these heroes that play aggressively and try to find early picks.
A challenge for any of you guys who've never watched a hero shooter before. By the way, now coming into the side, we'll talk about it later. Incoming aggressive play by Nook as well to keep the team sustained against Odd with the copy, but they'll be missing one because Avery went down early.
And the whale goes out. Infidel and Doomed. 2. Dongman on the Blur. 3. Dongman again onto Avery. Allowed that Doctor Strange, and their whole team goes down. A Shroud X up with 3% and counting.
definitely back to the original topic. Like we've seen in terms of these first fights, right, in the entire map, you can see who's doing the most damage. If you're not looking at just stats in terms of ult charge built, if this is your first time watching a hero shooter, Vision's building a very, very fast ultimate. Tap also doing the same thing. But I feel like the constant presence of this Namor is really annoying for both of these characters, for both Tap and Avery. I think both of them are sort of not necessarily hard countered, but soft countered by Namor, as Vision's just pumping out so much damage, building so many whales. It is farming up Tekixd Stratus ultimates, but it's hard for Avery or Tap to purchase any sort of space.
Yeah, I really like the composition here from Shroud X to help against that Wolverine. You do have that invis, which is not matched on the other side. And here goes the tackle. Eye of Agamotto out from Dongmin. Finds a few, but no value off the ultimate just yet. It does get matched with an ult. Doomed. Gonna find Ad early, and that's nice as Ad building up to that ultimate at 61. Doom trying to get a second pick here. Dropping back there into the invisible boundary. The entire team's falling as Doom takes out Brute. Make that 3. Impunity cleaning up Woofles here with an ult 2. But now Techie will be up an ult advantage in this next fight, but 60 on the ticker here.
Yeah, I don't want to make any for sure statements or anything, as we have a little... Wait a minute, is that... is he looking through the wall there? Did you see that on the... okay, we might have to look at that later. That's insane. If that's a spot on Wolverine to look through on that box, that's interesting. Regardless, I do think that this Namor Hulk stuff feels like it's the meta on domination, even with Human Torch being available at times. It's not in this series. Here comes the fastball special from Avery.
Yeah, and here we go. Avery trying to find some value in the back line. Misses the tackle there. Does have this last stand ready if need be. Going to push the front line directly in the back line. And that's how the combination works. And that's a setup ult here from Blur with the clobbering, but there's too much healing out right now. The whale does land on a bunch, but it's not enough to get the pick. Psyche lied. Woofles goes down. Doom. Vision on tap, and wow, Shroud X really feels comfortable in this composition. This comp together is so fluid. All the ults go out for Techie. Not a lot of value, but as I say that, Blur going to take out Nuck. Shroud X going to use Fidel's invisible boundary. Impunity takes out Blur. There goes Brute as well. And this could be enough for them to win map 1.
I feel like these days it's tough to really say like a comp gap and stuff. By the way, as a potential touch comes through, Ad just wants to give it up. They want to go to the next round. But I think this is the first time I feel confident in saying that is a comp gap. I don't know, like it just felt like the Namor was so oppressive. The Hulk, I mean, the Hulk is always looking for Tap. Impunity's entire job was to hunt down Tap, make sure that he was not comfortable. And then on the front line, anchoring was Dongmin. And then, you know, you had constant plays from Doom, just so free on the Wolverine. No eliminations found onto anybody here on Shroud X. And to me, that's as one-sided as it gets, right, Shib?
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, that was so fluid. Like I said, I think their comp is just insane. I think it's so difficult to go against. They have that invis to counter and help with the wolf, which, yeah, you see over Blur on the, you know, he's playing the thing here for the reason of not getting tackled. And although he is right now the ace, it's just not as much value as something like a combination with that team up with Hulk and Namor. It's just so much more there. Yes, you can throw, but then it does not help an additional teammate, like something that happens with that Hulk Namor Gamma Squid team up.
Absolutely. I think right now Techie's going to have to look at things, and in this next round, I mean, Namor also comes more online, right? You have these pillars to work off of. The map moves up and down, so there's a lot of variation that I think this Namor can take advantage of. Meanwhile, Techie's really main change is Avery over to that Bucky. We'll see if it pans out for them. Maybe that damage to the front line can be a lot, especially since people will say how Hulk can get hard countered by some heroes. We'll see if Impunity struggles with Avery now onto that Bucky.
And out immediately goes that dance of the butterfly from Tap. Doesn't find value, does force out some cooldowns. Brute ready with an ultimate here with the Meteor M, but not able to get that positioning just yet. Blur holding that natural cover. Impunity on that Hulk. Gonna pop that ultimate and try to own the space. Dongmin up goes Brute, does not land. Again, these fights are so... Impunity with a nice pick on Ad, and that's an early strat line pick.
Yeah, early strat line pick. You saw the block also coming through from Vision with the blessings. So he was in the sky blocking that Meteor Ram. They're still kind of coming back. Those Visions went down. That is removing a lot of damage with that whale. But here comes Dogman with a huge eye of Agamotto. No, doesn't connect on anybody.
And the fights are neutral here. Woofles holding on to that Luna ultimate, just keeping the team healthy on point. Nobody got point yet, Avery, and that's the pick you need if you're on the side of Techie, but it does get matched. And down goes Avery from Dongmin. These trades back and forth as Blur now finds another pick on Dongmin, up in numbers. Techie up 3 as Doom goes down. Tap finally showcasing the power of that Psylocke. Blur onto Impunity, and again, Techie finally taking over point, and will the momentum shift they need it to?
Yeah, Avery's farming up those Kraken impacts so fast onto that damage from onto the Hulk of Impunity, and I think that is definitely a big difference maker. Impunity, by the way, I think he swap and then swap back to Bruce, so we'll see how that impacts things. But regardless, yeah, I think this swap could enable Tekixd for sure. 14% on the board. Vision's going down early was the biggest thing. Tap, that's a huge pick to find. Unfortunately, Vision tried to go for the block on the Meteor M, costing him his life afterwards as Tap found the follow through, and here comes that butterfly.
Matched immediately by the invisible boundary. Good job, Fidel. Great reaction time. Back to the point the whole team goes, and down goes Tap. Wow. Vision talking about being one of the strongest name wars. Just showcased again. Dongmin onto Brute, and they are up 2, trying to get this point back early. 33% is a bit, but it's not enough to be that impactful. Up goes the whale. Down goes Woofle's Vision. Always landing those heavy as Nuck takes out Avery, and Shroud X will take this point back.
Yeah, I think based on what we've seen in terms of name wars North America, I mean, they portaled block on both sides. Here he comes through. Here comes the strength through the portal. But as you can see, everybody's working on blocking, making sure you can body block those people coming to the point. But I think it is a valid point to say Vision is probably the best name war, one of the best name wars in North America, besides like Delena and Rymazing. There's also a few other ones, but regardless, those have kind of been the standouts so far in the Ignite series. Now for Shroud X, they have every ultimate except that Namor whale, but he's building it so quickly. We'll see how Tekixd responds in this upcoming fight with the Kraken impact. They won last time this fight, had full ultimate charge.
Yeah, it's roughly even across the board here in terms of all charge. Fidel will get it back, and that will put them ahead as Ad and Tap are going to be low in terms of the charge here. So this fight likely going to go in Shroud's favor. At least odds are. Brute going to take this space early, holding onto that Meteor end, ready to play with the freeze there on the Hulk. And there's a nice tackle. The last stand out for Doom does not manage to make anything happen. Does force out some cooldowns as Woofles now uses the dance floor. Brute going to keep the pressure on and take this point hopefully back for the side of Tekixd if they want this. Avery goes up, but it does get matched again. Great work by these counter alts from Fidel, who are finding perfect timing here. And again, Brute not able to land that Meteor M. The strat line here again for Shroud X, we mentioned a lot, playing so intelligently and patiently.
Yeah, Dongmin also blocking that one. Now they're coming back through a little bit too late. I mean, losing 2 members of the team. I feel like Avery's playing this so well on the Bucky, but now everybody's grouping up together, getting that Hulk bubble, playing in the dagger, or the Storm Dagger, or sorry, Storm Dagger. So right now they're able to come back through after those cooldowns are popped, and now Tap is just there to clean up. Again, we saw this previously from Tekixd.
Yeah, Ad finds Dongmin, Tap onto Fidel again. Tekixd is finding their way back onto this point, but will they be able to get the charge back? 80% for the side of Shroud X, which is a good start here, just kind of stalling and holding and falling on that point for as long as possible, but Tekixd in a good position here. We do have Vision, who's ready to launch that whale, but that is about it, as Avery will have Kraken.
And when these fights go on, I think Tap's there to follow through after cooldowns used to stay alive. So right now, Tekixd taking full advantage of the Psylocke, but you know, we've seen Shroud before, again with this whale, find eliminations through these Shroud's ultimates. It's on Ad, I think, to save those crystals, but it's so hard, so much pressure coming through as well as you have final or last stand available. We'll see how they act. I mean, Avery with that with the Bucky ultimate, the Kraken impact could go big, but right now they're leaving Tap behind right now on the flank, just kind of walking in. Namor whale ready to go.
Yeah, and again, they are just getting this charge up 81%. Tekixd doing a good job here. This is what you need to see to try to get this match tied up for the side of Tekixd. Good pull again. And I like this switch over from Avery on to Bucky, who is getting a ton of value here and does have that Kraken ready. We know how strong that could be, but Shroud X up in alt charge here. They've got to make a play quickly, as Doom does, but do they get enough value? Vision going to clean that up as Tap goes down, and that's a nice pick, as Tap is very powerful and almost at all. But Avery finds 2. Do we see more? But Dongman going to slow that pace. Will they keep it going? That's a 3-piece here for Avery, who is showcasing the power of that Kraken. Make it 4. Do we see 5? Avery showcasing that it's not over for the meta here for Bucky at 99%, and they're going to have to teleport back quickly.
And they have to come back through as well with that invisible boundary. But oh no, it's not there in time. Nuck just a little bit too late, but it just happens. The Hulk cannot stall for long enough. And maybe this is what we heard in those interviews when people were talking about how Hulk can get countered by certain heroes. Bucky seems to be that right now, Shib, man. So just what a play in general. That was just so clean by the side of Tekixd, right, man? I mean, that was beautiful from Avery, like you said, with the Kraken impacts, and they brought it back around the corner.
Yeah, I like the change in composition there. I think the change from Avery was game winning, or at least map winning on that point, as they did seem a lot more fluid, a lot more patient in these team fights and not overcommitting, and always had an ult up. Besides one fight, which they still won with a pop off there from Avery, as we're gonna see Vision make that change too.
And I want to see how Shroud X reacts, right? It seems to be back and forth in terms of heroes, but you know, domination, you really have to like kind of lock your comp and build off of your ultimates. Right now, those changes, we'll see if they'll sort of react well, because you get rid of Avery on that Wolverine from the previous map, so that does make sense why you can go over to Groot now. Don't have to worry about the claws in your face. You have to do a Bucky on that Kraken impact.
Yeah, we do see Doom. He's going to maintain that Wolverine. It's not going to be matched by Tekixd, who we're finding not as much success, and that's just due to Fidel on that Invis, who's done a great job countering ultimates there with that invisible boundary. But we do see the reset again as the teams will hold on and go to point 3 for game 1. And this just goes to show you Tekixd, they want this W. They've done their homework. Can they come through as they are up in alt advantage?
Tap poked out early. Everybody sort of playing back with these hooks from Visions, whiffing on both sides. Avery also looking for his own, right? He was able to get so many of them in the previous round. We'll see if he does it again. Last stand also only halfway through for Doom's side. Here comes early Dance of the Butterfly, trying to force out a Shroud's ultimate. Comes out a little bit late, trying to get maximum value out of this. Also towards the point, they're able to find Blur. Tap, go, can't dash away. Fidel finds him. Nice job with the physics to bring them back in. Here comes a late Meteor M from Brute. Will it connect? I mean, everybody's faded away with the cloak. Nice job from them to keep everybody healthy. And up 2 members of their team. Shroud surely have the advantage here. Tekixd used Shroud's ultimate to respond. Wolf comes back through with the Fatal Worlds. Nobody's taking the point just yet, but oh my god, what a wall there from Impunity to block off all of the healing. The damage follow-up is there. The portal comes out late from Blur, so they'll have a chance to contest the point for a little bit longer, but Tap's going to go down as well. He's made the swap over to Wolverine. Everybody else is going to go back to the spawn now as Tekixd reset. Shroud take control of the point.
Shroud down in ults in the first fight. Not only down in ults, managing to find more picks, holding on, being patient, committing again, making sure that teleport doesn't get value, and then not overcommitting ults, and now still being up 3. That was a master class on defense there by Shroud, who held on, being down in ult.
Walking in now is Tekixd, right? They only have that copy from Odd side. Shroud are sitting with nearly 5 ultimates as Fidel builds up that invisible boundary so quickly. Just had it in the previous fight. Tap now over to the Psylocke, Avery over to the Wolverine. So they've had to make a few swaps. And Avery, oh no, got picked early. The hook from Visions created that opening. And you're probably not going to use any ultimates from Tekixd. Probably just want to go for a fast reset. And that's tough because it was so efficient. No, you get caught out by a Shrinking Prison as well. The follow-up is there from the Terror Cape. And it's 1 by 1 that Tekixd falls as they have to keep backing up, dealing with hooks again. Tap has to dash away, but it's going to be so hard to live. Able to barely live, getting the healing from his team. Brute now respawns, and Tekixd nearly halfway to losing this map in the 3rd round.
Yeah, and again, Shroud up in alt in the next fight. I mean, Tekixd's got to show up here, but Shroud really well done. You can see just the experience and the confidence. They're playing really slow and patient because it doesn't matter if they take the fight first. Let them come to them. Try to find a pick instinctively with these walls here from Impunity. Lock down the thing from Escape. Find a pick early, but as I'm saying, that Avery finds Vision early, and that's a nice tackle, just barely missed there by Doom. Good idea, but it does not come through as the bubble likely protected. We do go up here from Brute. Will this one land? Heading towards the back line. Shield not able to stuff it, but there is that bond out to hold on the point. And at this point, Shroud is just trying to get to 100 or 99 and then commit ults. But as I'm saying that, Fidel, out goes the invisible boundary. Dongmin, oh, with the big potential there. It does get clipped by the ceiling, but that could have been terrifying.
Yeah, could have been terrifying if that connected into the back line. Tap, though, with the Dance of Butterflies. This is as terrifying, it looks like, because he's able to take down 1 onto 2. And we talked about how good this guy was on Psylocke before. He's been a little bit quiet in this map, but it's been hard for him to find these eliminations by himself. Needs his team to help set him up. And Tekixd finally controlled that objective and push away Shroud who have ultimates ready to go. In the next fight, they have nothing. Tekixd.
Yeah, I mean, Tekixd is now, at 10%, but Shroud it's 1 fight territory. They should have the teleport back for Tekixd. I think it was used a little bit over 3 minutes ago. I'm not 100% sure on that. We will find out, I guess, the hard way if Shroud is able to retake this point. They do have ult advantage here. Impunity, how strong this combination is. You see here, Impunity and Vision. Just keep your eyes out for that, as we will see that Strangling Prison very shortly. Waiting for the cooldowns of the bubble to go away, waiting for that shield to go away, so there's nothing to stop it. And then it will get launched here. Impunity just waiting, buying, and there it is downtown. It just finds 1. They crack an impact off. The crystals get burned out. Do they find enough? The reset does go through because it was on a Loki clone, and that is the counteracting ability there of that crystal. It does give him another pick. His Vision now is reset again, buying time, waiting on some of these cooldowns. Going to look towards Tap potentially. Out goes the bond, but it is now matched by the invisible boundaries. That a 2-piece there, as both cooldowns were used. So I think that actually both strats actually overlaid there.
Yeah, overlaid is not ideal. Now Shroud sitting back. Maybe Doom can clutch it up with this ultimate ready to go. Wolf was coming up on his own. Tap, meanwhile, Dance of the Butterflies into the Stagger Storm. Able to stay alive. alive as well as the rest of Shroud X surround around it, but you lose all that healing on the front line as everybody trying to stay alive due to that dance of the butterflies. Dongman falls. Here comes Doom, maybe with a... Oh, no, is that on a claw?
Wow.
No, he did find Ad, but it's traded on the backside. Last stand from him, only to connect onto that Loki, and with that, I mean, Shroud X just has to play slow in main. A lot of poke damage coming through from them, but they're still looking to kind of flank this. They're sort of making it scrappy as now they come back through with that portal. Hooks can't potentially come through. It slows down the thing, has to jump back to his team, but they just play around this back corner of the point, right? Make sure they cannot go down to these walls. Also set up tap on that flank. Visions now ready to go with the Kraken impact. We're building up towards 99%. Avery finds Impunity, and the save from Wolfels comes through with the fate of the world. Snuck is there on the backside. Impunity going down is massive. Also a clobbering time, and they can shut it out right now. Avery connects with onto one with the Kraken impact. Fidel also goes down. Wakamoto, but no, you can't see that wolf, that Bucky in the sky. Avery again with the reset on a Dongman. Overtime takes down. They don't have the portal as well because they just used it. Another strangling person to try to save it, but Impunity going down early there is massive, and Techie will win map 1.
Wow, you know what? I would not have put money on it after having ult advantage there from Shroud X. They just did not find the value with that combination of the Strangling Prison and Kraken Impact, and it really did bite them there. Techie just holding on. Despite being down in ults in multiple fights, it just was all about that final retake. Once they got the point, they just never let it go. And I don't even know if it was a testament to their holding, although it did look clean. They just could not find value on the side of Shroud X with those ults.
Yeah, really, that switch to the Bucky was huge. I think Avery popped off. I think this guy is definitely a top-tier Bucky. Same thing with Vision, but I mean, just what a performance by him. Also tapped to really distract the backline. There was so much value found in that. So one quick swap, right? That's all that it took. I mean, Avery on Wolverine, round number 1. Struggling, same thing with Tap versus that Namor, but that immediate switch to the Bucky has resulted in the side of Shroud X sort of not panicking, but figuring out a solution, because right now that Bucky was doing way too much, and Avery, I think, I mean, he's definitely been sort of an unsung hero of this team of Tekixd, but he definitely popped off there.
Yeah, definitely known for the flying composition, but that switch to Bucky was it, right? As soon as that happened, Tides started turning back in their favor. Speaking of Tides, we did see a lot of this Namor, which was switched off there towards the end, but found a lot of value early on, just not able to get the, the job done here on that map. So what a play here by Techie, who really showed up when they needed to, despite Shroud X looking dominant for the vast majority of those two maps.
Absolutely. I think this kind of comes back down to it. This was probably a more obvious version of how we see these teams practice. We see like a lot of teams just figure out, okay, this comp can't be played. Okay, this comp can, right? We saw with that Psylocke and alongside the Wolverine, that Namor comp really dismantled it. But once they swapped to that Bucky, it just feels like that Hulk can't stay alive. Impunity was struggling. And then we see round number 3, they decided the real answer was to swap Visions back over to a Bucky on his own. And I think in that mirror, we saw they were so close to figuring it out, as well with Doomed on that Wolverine, but that reverse sweep, that sort of steady climb back from Techie after they swap tap back over to that Psylocke, Avery onto that Bucky yet again. And they, despite, I think was it Guru that said it, or was it Boger that said it today? You kind of want to just play those comfort picks. We've seen Tap pop off on Psylocke. He's so good. Avery kind of the same thing. There's so many good Bucky players. I feel like, not that it's a crutch or anything, but there's so many good Bucky players in North America, and I think Avery looks at home on that character. Same thing with him on the Human Torch, but he looks even better, I think, on the Bucky.
He found a lot of value waiting for the walls to go up there for Groot, and then getting pulls early on and kind of throwing off the mojo of what the idea of the play was for Shroud X. So just a great switch. We can't say it enough. Tekixd taking map 1. Shroud X in a position it looked like they could have had it, but then faltering in that moment, which, it has been the storyline of them, but I know they have the capabilities to get through and pull back a W and sweep this back. But we'll find out if they can do that right after this break. Welcome back, everyone. Tekixd showing up map 1 and taking it from Shroud X. Will they proceed forward, or will Shroud X bounce back? Find out very shortly, as it now goes into Convoy or Convergence, and the choice is Shroud X.
Yeah, want to see where they take us, but I mean, that's the biggest thing, is that you winning a map off of a team that seemed to have dominated you so far. Like, I think that's definitely huge for the momentum shift in terms of, the confidence of this team to win a map off of Shroud X, who has been very good against Tekixd, although it's been close and competitive every time. And this is what we're talking about with the ego death situation. I feel like Tekixd, you know, they're kind of proving, not that, you know, it's tough. NB is a hard team to beat, don't get me wrong, but I think Tekixd, I think even though they didn't get first blood versus a you know, top tier team in terms of the signed teams, Techies they've sort of proven throughout the tournament they might be the better team overall in terms of an unsigned roster that deserves to be picked up. Across the whole roster, I think that they definitely have top tier talent that needs to be looked at for a lot of esports organizations.
Yeah, and they're starting to branch into that conversation we had about a very strong composition of that divey, you know, cap and Psylocke composition with maybe even Torch. As you know, Avery can get up in the sky. Obviously, some of that stuff is getting banned out, but they're not afraid to pull that out, which has found a ton of success in this tournament so far. So they have that in the bag, which has helped them with a ton of W's. But even in that moment, Avery pulling out the Bucky and getting so much value with those pulls. It's seemingly, you know, honestly, a little bit of it has to go to Shroud, who had alt advantage and just couldn't quite get a ton of value. But that is also good positioning there by Techie.
Yeah, I think we're in for a banger. I think, Shib. I mean, first map had gone down to the wire for both sides. Shroud capping out to 99, and then, like you said, Techie kind of coming back, sort of cloning themselves back into it. We'll see what the bans are this phase. I know that Shroud potentially on a Convoy and Convergence, looking to play that potential triple Stratus compositions. We'll see how Techie reacts to that. I know that comp is good, very hard to play, but for Shroud, we'll see what they opt to do, right? We do have that Ultron availability still here. Also, Loki bans coming through now on the side of Tekixd, not wanting to deal with Shroud and that Loki. Punisher ban on the opposite side, not wanting to deal with tap on that character.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that makes sense because when you lock in that Magneto, it does, although you think, you know, you can use the Meteorem to counter, a lot of the time that bubble comes out, it makes it even more difficult and you waste the ultimate anyway. So there is value in Magneto in countering it. But at this level of play, they always have that shield ready with the ultimate to keep moving forward.
Wolverine going to be protected as well for Shroud. They want to play that character again as they did on map number 1. For Techie, I want to see what they do. Will they even protect the Wolverine? Do they want to play around it? I think you kind of at times need that Wolverine in case they do play Groot. And the Doctor Strange ban comes through because they don't want Dongmin on that hero. I think Dongmin talked about how he was, his words, not mine, missing Meteorems on Magneto. So maybe putting him over to that Doctor Strange was helpful, and getting rid of it now for Tekixd. Maybe they want Dongmin to prove he can still hit those Meteorems on that Magneto. Dongmin, a very good Magneto player, by the way. I think he's just being hard on himself. But now Luna Snow protect from his side Psylocke ban to make sure Tap can't play that hero, and a lot of targets towards both Avery and Tap, it looks like, for Shroud X. Opposite side, they don't want to deal with that Loki, making sure that that Shroud line is a little bit weaker for Shroud X.
We will see Doomed on that Wolverine again, and that showed a lot of value early on in the domination mode. But on Araco here, you can be very aggressive, and we talk about those portal plays, and you have escape if you overcommit a little bit. So we definitely will see some of that. But also that Punisher you can set up here after point 1. Shroud going to be defending, obviously. Curious to see if they will run that triple, but you can find those off angles with the teleport as you're attacking as well and get behind the enemy holding you tight. But we will see what it looks like as we dive in here in terms of Araco in the past. Obviously, this one went to the side of Shroud X, but it is a new game, and Techie is really showcasing that they can pull through. And the numbers are slightly heading back towards Techie, but still Shroud X favored to win this.
Yeah, maybe Chan listening to the advice that domination can be a bit 50-50 sometimes, and you know, if one fight doesn't go your way, you give up so much percentage. So, you know, domination, maybe not seen as the most strategic map out of all of the maps in Marvel Rivals, but it definitely can be the most important map to win, right? Even though at times it could feel random, it's still 1/3 of the game modes, right? So you have to win on domination, even if at times it feels unfair. Now on the attack of Tekixd's side, we're going to see them play the Hela alongside the Bucky, and with the Hulk out of all characters alongside Brute. So cool to see Techie play that.
Yeah, I don't know if we've seen much of that. I think Blur definitely has it in the bag, and Blur's not afraid to pull out things like Cap as well as they press forward. But, you know, definitely a different decision, and we don't see the tight hold here from Shroud X, which I'm a little bit surprised of. I think they've seen, I mean, the other teams have found a lot of success with in the past, but maybe it's just a little too risky, and since they don't have that strange teleport back, that's probably why they're doing it, right? It does make sense that you can't guarantee 3 fights if you don't have that teleport, but this is that angle I'm talking about. You see Doom taking that height in case anyone tries to portal off, and they can immediately drop them in that garbage bin that is that opening here on point 1. So smart idea, but it doesn't look like it came into fruition as Avery presses forward and is staying on top of that Bucky. Fidel gonna find one on Tap here and put Shroud X up on the D.
A huge pick off onto Tap, and You know, as we talk about the group being in play and no Wolverine right now, Doomed on the opposite side, another Wolverine play again, grabs him, brings him back to the team. Dongman there with the follow-up. So Tekixd sort of on the back foot. I mean, it's tough when you're against the Wolverine, but also when you're against that group and don't have your own Wolverine. So right now, Tekixd having to figure things out. They have Blur now over to the Captain America. Maybe he can create a little bit of space towards his back line and force early Shroud ultimates because they have been built first for Shroud X.
Yeah, and it is at this point up in advantage for Shroud X, who are holding this corner tight. Dongman does have that Meteor, Fidel, Vision, and Nuck as well. Impunity slightly behind. Impunity, you're electing to play that Groot a lot more. Very, very good Groot. You just got to see some big big strangling prisons coming up here. Nuck gonna find Blur, and that's another early take from the strategist lines on Shroud X prior to these fights as they're trying to play aggressive here. We talk about Blur able to play that Captain America as well, already making that switch as Doom trying to find an off map. Instead, gonna elect to go back to the back line and get healed up.
And now they go on through. Meteor M coming through on the backside. Also, crack an impact from Avery connects. Brute creating a little bit of space for him, kind of giving that supportive back line as it's met by Shredder's ultimates, but the first pick has been found on Impunity.
Yeah, and up goes the Meteor M, but that's a downtown throw. Not able to make that happen. Good idea. Just going to try to stall onto the point as Dongman is able to get healed up using that Dagger Storm to stay healthy as the dance floor is matched on the opposition from Tekixd. Alt advantage now going to be back in the favor of Shroud X. Excuse me. Will Tekixd going to match that as Blur? Uses Captain America to try to keep the team healthy. Going to run forward, use that to take space, gets knocked right back. And Vision going to collapse right back towards them. Try to negate that ultimate. Nice pick there by Vision onto Avery. Taking that space, only able to find one, but that will be enough for them to hold this priority.
Yeah, they also commit that final stand on the backside. And really just overall great push there from Shroud X, right? I mean, unfortunately for Avery, didn't take the portal with the rest of his team. Everybody else sort of well aware of it. Wolfels also had to commit that Fate of the World, so it's tough that that ultimate is now removed. That was the one advantage you had going into this next fight. Now we're down to 60 seconds left on the clock. So much time has been chewed off the bank, and you know, usually we see this time chewed off the bank when there's like a triple Vanguard, triple Strategist comp, but right now Shroud X is playing honest Marvel rivals straight up 2-2-2, and Tekixd can't respond.
Yeah, I mean, this is their map, right? It shows you their practice here. This looks really clean. Obviously, a pretty strong defensible position, especially right here in this corner. Sometimes you'll see the Invisible Woman get popped out just to try to get that push off map at this first point, but not going to be chosen here. Instead, they're just feeling confident with their composition. It's all about this next fight now. Avery and Brute. Here comes the Meteor M from Brute. Will it find Purchase right towards the back line? It does. Brute and Blur gonna find two, and that's a good start. Make that three. Are they gonna collapse on it? Yes. Doomed gonna potentially look for a tackle off map. Matched right back, but we do see the dance floor. Tough to take that out. Try to wait out the shield. Not able to do so. Thought the timing was correct, but no, not able to get it done. Avery gonna walk forward with the pull.
Impunity. Oh, he got his enemy. He got a struggle prison canceled. What a hook there from Avery. Lucky. And now here comes, oh my goodness, tap on the back line on Wolverine. Shuts down them with his ultimate. Oh no. Gets beamed by this Punisher. But eventually the passive popped. And what a cancel there from Avery onto that Groot ultimate. That could have ended things. Impunity tried to eat it out there. But now we're entering the second phase of the map. And this is the worrisome part for Shroud X, is that not a lot of teams do well here, I think, in the second phase on defense. Although we do see Wolverine succeed on this point of the map, and Doomed does have that ultimate ready to go. So I'd be curious to see if like Shroud X can kind of find a little bit of stability here. It's like I said, very hard on this second part of the map. Not a lot of teams can kind of hold this attack back here, especially with 2 minutes in the time bank on Tekixd.
Yeah, I may be mistaken, but I think one of the only teams that did it was Shroud X. I think they went to an Ultron composition, but you're right. It's a very difficult position to hold, as once you get one, you know, as you get down that alleyway, you can have your own off angles. You can sweep right and left on height, so it does, you know, make the backline, the strategist, a little more nervous and forced to look over their shoulder and try to get a pull there. Avery just keep using all those abilities and build that charge. Tackled right back. Doomed gonna fall. Great work there by Avery to help out a teammate as they do progress forward. Up in numbers, and that is a strangling prison from downtown. Dongman gonna take out two. Down goes Brute and Avery. We said a very strong Magneto and showcasing it right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough last stand to use there. Doomed committing on that flank. I mean, they're going to win this team fight, but all it cost Tekixd was that Fate of the Worlds, right? Committing 3 ultimates for 1. Now onto the attack, tap close to his own last stand. So we'll see how Shroud X do. I think that ultimate is just so impactful that it's tough. You don't really want to waste it. Unfortunately for them, Shroud X losing that ultimate for this next fight. Both duelist ultimates. So I think the Vanguard, Dongman, going to have to go big in this fight, but it's hard versus Captain America. Freedom Charge sort of negates the value of Meteor M with the overhealth.
And here comes the beginning. Avery lands that Kraken, doesn't find a ton of purchase, and there's a throw from downtown Dongman. Not able to find anything there. Alt advantage going to be up here just slightly for the side of Tekixd, but we'll have a counter alt here from Ad. Brute with that Meteor M goes up. Will it land? Looking for one, and bang, it goes down, but no purchase again. Out goes the Bond. They're going to walk forward with it, and here comes the last stand with 3, and that's huge as Tap finds 3, and they're going to follow up with Brute and Blur. Waffles onto Impunity, and that could be enough to make things interesting, trying to get through point 2.
Yeah, if they have 4 on the payload, I'm not sure if they touch, but we'll see. That's the tough part. That's what I said about wasting last stand, is you can use it after all of these Shroud ultimates are over and just connect flush onto every single one, eliminate them immediately, and now we're moving to the third phase of the map. We've seen teams struggle in the second phase of Morocco, and you're seeing exactly why. This third phase, though, I think is definitely more defensible, but if a snowball comes through, that'd be massive. With Blur going down, though, that's definitely going to slow down Tekixd's attack with 1 minute and 30 seconds left.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there was good patience there by Tap, who with just an insane last stand. That ultimate gets so much value, especially if your team's coordinated like this. You essentially choose all your cooldowns. If you know where he's going to land, why not throw some of those abilities directly in that path? Just get that raw damage on everyone, as you see Avery using some of those E's there to just plow through the backline as they do retake the space. This is a defensible position early on, but the tide shift heavily as you press through it, and then again back as a defensible position as you push right to the point as the spawn is so close. Doomed gonna find a last stand soon, trying to find the back line, but no, gonna take the high side. Vision walking through here onto Brute. That's 1, keeping the pressure forward. Out goes the boundary, but still Impunity cleaning up Avery. They need to keep this pressure on and not let them go too far, as this is already a very strong push here from Tekixd.
Incredibly strong. 40 seconds left to go now for Tekixd. I mean, they can sort of work themselves back into this fight. Doomed again with that last stand. He could go huge on his team's side. There's no crystals as well for Shroud though, so it's hard to live even through a lot of these big ultimates from that Kraken impact and Tap. But this is gonna be a big fight. I'm gonna have to look out for both Wolverines and that Kraken impact on Avery's side.
And the space is taken. Alt advantage roughly even. Nuck holding on to that Bond. We've got Dongman's Meteor ready, and it can be matched right back on Brood. Tackle goes out. No value just yet. Burning some of these walls. Wolverine actually able to charge those claws on Brute walls. For those who don't know, Doomed gonna find Brute early, and that's good for Shroud X on the defense. Can they keep the pressure? Avery uses that Kraken impact. Can they get the reset? Not able to do so, but they switch over to Doomed here. Doom does have that last stand, and here it is. Right into the back line, too. And oh my goodness, great freeze, but still, yes, actually Blur finds a 2-piece. Vision gonna find Ad Tap on a Dongman, and it's traded, but that could be back in Tekixd's favor as they push towards the end here for point 3.
Absolutely, and I mean, in that case, both of these Wolverines win for their last stand. Taps was just a little bit bigger, also had the follow-up from Blur. No diving vanguards for Shroud X, so the follow-up from Doom not there. His was a little bit too far forward, and nobody else could really be there, though Visions has that final judgment right. This is a big point for it as well. Not a lot of cover. Brute could shut it down with a massive Meteor M.
I do think Waffles with the freeze there actually was game changing. It was a mini freeze, wasn't for long, but it did stop the last stand from getting a ton of value. Vision gets 2, make that soon to be 3. As nobody's on the point. Oh my goodness, how many times?
Well, what happened there was that the Strangling Prison came out and Brute couldn't match with the Meteor M that final judgment. So well played by Shroud X. Impunity coming through in the clutch at that last point, right, Shiv? That's huge, I think, for Shroud X to finally close it out there. But they got so far. Tekixd needed. I mean, they had like 30 seconds left on the first point, and they got all the way towards the very end of the map.
Forcing a team to full push here is very difficult. You know, we mentioned that very last point, the spawn door being right behind you. It gives you a very defensible position, so they were close, really close. So that is going to put Shroud X in a scary spot in the forward here, or as we move forward here. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Tekixd in a tough spot. No, Shroud X is attacking, that's what I thought.
Yeah, Shroud X has 2 attacking side, and on the defense, I mean, that's what we saw when we went to that third phase of the map towards the very end. Not exactly a lot of cover there. The only way that I think Tekixd wins that, and you said it earlier, that was a big freeze as well to slow down Doomed with that last stand. That was definitely nice and clean from Waffles. Definitely a very good Luna Snow player as well. And on the opposite side, I think the Wolverine play has been clean from the side of Avery, or for Tap rather. Now that we move over to the attack of Tekixd, they're going to have to kind of wave that aside. They played pretty well considering how things went first point. There was so many lost team fights. It's hard, I think, on this first point for a lot of attacking teams until you sort of reach that second bend. So we'll see how Shroud X does on their attack. as Techie moves on to defense.
Yeah, Techie's going to be doing that triple strat strategy, holding up, triple Vanguard strategy, holding up tight here. Shroud X has known to press through that pretty quickly as Fidel immediately, as I say that, Blur goes down. So Shroud X looking clean off the start. Doomed, going to try to find another, but Brute going to find Nuck, and the res comes up from Tap Tap, obviously playing that, you see Rocket right now, just to try to keep the team up here in the front side, buy as much time here as possible. I was surprised Shroud X didn't do this. They don't have the access to the streams or the teleport back, so that makes sense, but, you know, they just played so clean on the defense on this first point that it didn't really matter. But you can see here, Techie, the value in doing this, they're gaining those ults quickly. Brute almost ready, add at 71, the most so far on the strat line, ready to use that just to buy more time. Just wasting time is the goal here. They want to see how long they can last as Avery finds vision and add finds impunity.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we got to build those ultimates up. Maybe I think Vision's a little bit too far forward. Maybe could be building up towards that that final judgment, and like we've seen a lot of good Punisher players do. But now Doom's over to that Squirrel Girl. You usually see this kind of come through in these triple Vanguard compositions. We'll see if it pans out for them though.
Yeah, this is essentially, it's like you want to use this just to, you want to do so much damage. A bunch of damage out here right now. Burn every shield you can. Avery, great eye, and they find 2 off of it. Again, Techie on the start here, holding firm, keeping them in the spawn door, still holding on to 3 ultimates. Almost 4 here for Woofles. This is a scary place to be in for Shroud X, who's trying to rotate this composition to make sure they can get out, but they're now going to have every ult in the book. This is their fight to win. They have to do it now.
I mean, they're getting cheesed onto the backside. Early clobbering time comes out, though, is met by the invisible boundary, so it's reacted well by Shroud X, but they need to find a big ultimate from impunity.
Yeah, and they didn't get much there. Out goes the squirrels, and here comes Visions. This is huge. The final judgment here could be very valuable, and it is. Down goes Blur with a combination from Doom, keeping the pressure forward, but that res comes back. Numbers are even. Don't forget that. That's where it gets tricky. Oh, and what a move there on the side of Woofles to juke that meteor and keep the team up in this fight. Techie putting on a masterclass of this triple Vanguard, and there we go with the Eternal Bond. Doom finds another. That will not be res. This is on cooldown, and there we go from Shroud X. 4 down as they finally get out of the spawn door. 1 minute 40 on, though. These fights are now going to be a little more tense.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the hardest maps, I think, to break through this triple Vanguard. We usually see it on maps like Midtown as well, but because you have that inside, because you have your supports and your strategist so healthy and there's no way to really jump on them, they're just in such a defensible position. Now an early portal recontest coming through from Techie.
Yeah, and this is that triple fight I'm talking about. As long as you have Strange, you can guarantee 3, and that is so impactful, especially after you hold it already down to 1 minute left. So they need to clutch up here. Shroud X needs to find value with every ult. Any mistake will cost them. Avery with the eye. Blur ready as well with the clobbering time, and this Brute's very close as well. Oh, there's that clobbering time. Does it find purchase? It does, but can they follow up? I don't believe so. Impunity with a mean strangling, and they're not able. They are, as Vision already has this final judgment again, taking down 1. But what do you know? The res. Oh, great teleport. Insanely smart. Getting a second. They needed that here. Vision again. There's that eye. It does find. Oh, it doesn't find any. And will they be able to take out Dongman? They do. Woofles finds a pick there, but Shroud X still taking this pressure. 30 seconds on. Final fight territory.
Dongman maybe a little bit too far forward there. Techie rezzed as well. Brute, so Brute's back in the fight like we saw. And then that thing now swapping over to that Captain America alongside Avery on the Doctor Strange. So currently Techie's still holding on like you mentioned. 16 seconds left. This hold is looking even better than Shroud X's.
I mean, look at this composition. You see Tap on Rocket here. Woofles on to Doom. That is massive again. Just a demon out there in the back line. More massive than the low taper. Faye, we do see it all very close here for Avery. Is going to hold on. Can he make a play to clutch up for Techie as the pressure is getting shoved in here? Nuck is going to use that bond, but it does not result in too much. We've got to hold on here. We are in OT, and now it's all about these ults. Can they get back there? Vision close. Fidel close. Dongman out. Does this meteor land? It needs to, and it's reflected by Cap back into the moon. Avery holding on, and here comes the eye, and it does land on Fidel. Fidel falls. Nuck onto Avery, traded right back. Vision with that ultimate falls, and Techie may shut this down right now.
It might, and then this goddess, unfortunately, the Hurricane gonna get just cleaned up by the Captain America. All of the healing, all of the extra health coming through. Nuck falls. I mean, this is incredibly brutal right now for the side of Shroud X. I mean, they have to funnel towards this objective. Overtime ticks down, and they got first point held by Tekixd. They are up 2 on Shroud X, about to close it out and send Shroud X out of the Ignite series.
Wow. Techie looking really good. I mean, look at that. Tap was on Rocket the entire game. the entire defensible game, excuse me. But that's crazy. Like they were running that triple the whole time, never swapped, stayed consistent. They pulled. It was just a masterclass of that front defense, you know. And I think it's genius. I think it's genius by Tekixd to ban out the Strange so they can't do that. It does make it far less valuable when you cannot guarantee the second touch. And that was just showcased right there because Shroud X definitely making the right plays and they were coming through. You can see the stat lines look great across the board. Punity maybe not getting as many finals, but still they played strong together. It's just that too much time was burned in the beginning there.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the first team to kind of do that Doctor Strange banning was a team like Team Envy. I think Team Envy was doing it as well pretty consistently, making sure they can't play that Doctor Strange. And it is true. I think you bring up good points alongside the fact that like they have a really good Doctor Strange player. So, you know, it's sort of a two birds for one stone type of situation, right? And I think right now, Tekixd, I mean, what a turnaround from them so far, right? Shroud X looks to be like a team that's sort of kind of coming back right after, you know, sort of not necessarily struggling in other tournaments fully, but just like kind of coming together as a unit. And right now, Tekixd taking the limelight straight up, right? I mean, they're able to just do so much, I think, through that triple strategist, triple Vanguard comp like we saw. And then also, I think like Tap had a masterclass on Wolverine as well. And we've talked about this man a lot. We've talked about as well the backline. You talked about Ad, Wolfels finding a very crucial pick at the very end on Division. So a lot of things went right for Tekixd, and I think it's through their teamwork and their overall cohesion. So we talk about teams like Ego Death a lot about like these unsigned teams, but Tekixd deserves all of the credit for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think this was really a product of Shroud X not playing well together. I think it's just a product of Tekixd playing insane together. They just looked so good, and it's like every alt that was used found some sort of value, whether it was forcing out a strat line alt or if it was getting a pick, and it just kept happening.
And we'll see now. I mean, Ad MVP, by the way, just played phenomenally on that Loki, just on every hero basically in general whenever he's on Cloak. So really just did a good job keeping his team healthy, and you know the follow through is there at all times. So easy MVP farm for Ad, as he's been definitely a standout player from Tekixd, one of the best strategists in the game right now. Shib, it's unfortunate for Shroud X because they are now down 2, right? They're about to potentially get reverse swept on. Let me check something real quick, Shib. You talk for a second real quick. I'm gonna check something.
Sure. So what I gotta say, just in the meantime, which I was gonna mention, we talk about Ad. You mentioned the strategist line, maybe not getting as much love. Ad has like been an MVP like 5 out of 6 of these 6 games, with the duelists being as strong as they have been. So really well played in the backline, good patience and focus, good utilization of ultimates. That final fight just so consistent, good trades back and forth, and it was just clean. It seems like they studied up on that map and they figured it out.
Also, I have bad news for any Shroud X fan. Unfortunately, Shroud X is watching, or Shroud is watching the series, and based on what we've seen, when Shroud is not watching Shroud X, they win. So I think it'd be best not to, you know, listen, I love Shroud. Just saying, I'm not a superstitious guy, but if you're a Shroud X fan, it might be best if Shroud turns off the stream. Make sure you guys let him know to go somewhere else, go outside, stop watching, maybe just leave your computer, let the game play itself. You can have your chat watch, but obviously for Shroud X, I think he might be bad luck for his team. Not to be too superstitious or anything, as much as I love Shroud. We'll see what happens with this team. Can they reverse sweep? We've seen it done before, Shib. We saw Envy do it day number 2. I mean, this team can definitely do it. Shroud X can kind of come together right now against Tekixd. Shroud X have to do it right now, though. They have to come through in the next couple maps, but it's going to be domination up next. So we'll see how they do, what map they pick, man. Shroud X, can they do it? We'll come back from a break in just a second for map number 3.
Game set, but is it match? Tekixd up 2, and you may not be superstitious, but you're a little stitious, calling out Shroud there a little bit, and we'll see if he closes it down. But their team's got what it takes. Can they pull through and reverse sweep?
Yeah, that's the tough part for Shroud X, is that they've been a team that has kind of been just kind of working together very well recently, and that's the difficult aspect of this game, is that it feels like you can just any given day lose to anybody. And Tekixd is a team that is not putting the game down. They're grinding this game so much. They, as a unit, play together. Have, you know, so many scrims, so many times in VOD review where they discuss the game, and I mean, you can see, I mean, the amount of passion they have for the game is visible. And if they were to win into Shroud X, that puts them 1 game away from LAN as an unsigned team, and that sends Shroud X home, unfortunately. But for Tekixd, they're right there, right at the very end of getting into this next round of the loser bracket.
Yeah, I mean, this is the moment. We talk about how Shroud has been in these positions before where they've been ahead and weren't able to follow up, but now it's a matter of fact, can they bounce back? Like, that is something that we need to see now. It is going to be another map in their favor. They are going to make the choice. I do think, you know, strangely enough, insane coaching decision from a team that maybe doesn't have a coach with that Strange ban. I think that is so impactful on that map. It wasn't matching the opposition because, you know, typically not necessarily worth the ban all the time, especially against Tekixd, but when Tekixd does the triple Vanguard hold, it's a whole new story.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Tekixd, I think they have everything in their back pocket. And, you know, remember, Shiv, if we go back to, since we are going to domination, right, for this next, wait, everyone, it's 2. It's just kidding, not domination. I called it too early. We're going to a convergence, right? So that will be map number 3. Convoy was the last one when we went to Araco. So we're not almost there, and Shroud did beat Tekixd on that map. Now, you know, I'm having shades of the other day when Tekixd lost to Sentinels on a map like on Spider Islands, right? When we remember Spider Islands, they were so close to beating Sentinels. They were right there in map number 2, but unfortunately faltered when it mattered most. In that overtime, they just kind of collapsed. So I wonder, Shib, do you think this team has finally had that experience, you know, those really, really painful losses to kind of come together? Do you think one day is enough to kind of recover from a situation like that and sort of shore up your defenses?
I think it definitely can. You know, it's all about the day, right? We talk about, you know, teams can study up, but it's still a matter of who shows up on this day. All these teams are so close in margin. It's so difficult, as you see by our brackets. I mean, we've been watching every single game, and all of us are trash at making brackets because of how close these teams are. It is insane, but we are going to Hala Dajalia, and this is honestly not a choice I would have expected, but I'm curious to see what they're going to play and who they're going to ban.
Yeah, I bet you. I wonder if there's that one nerd in chat that's like, actually, my March Madness bracket was perfect. Like, that's actually what we're probably saying, because there's no way anybody had day 1 going as it did, and nobody. I don't think many teams had Tekixd going as far as they did. Did you, Shib? I mean, I don't think anybody had. I mean, we had this team on the radar. We talked about tap and stuff, and the ban phase. They always do it so well, like you mentioned. I don't know. I mean, this team really is just starting to put things together at the right time.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. I think they're criminally underrated, honestly, Tekixd, and they have had bad losses, which I think kind of puts a bad taste in people's mouth where they're unable to get a win. But then they do things like this and bounce back on a team that has beaten them 4 straight times, and now they're up 2-0 in a series that you only need 3 to win. So it is crazy.
It is crazy, and you know what's crazy, Shib, as well, is that Dr. Strange got protected. Sorry,
yeah.
Shot for the laugh there, but my goodness. I mean, they protected Dr. Strange. That's interesting. The Luna ban now comes to the opposite side.
Yeah, I think that's for Dongmin. Dongmin has been insane with those Eye of Agamottos, obviously. So, you know, he mentioned yesterday, really comfortable there on the dock and really wants a chance to showcase what he can do and bounce back here on Hala Dajalia. I'm curious. Oh, we do see the ban out of Luna and Loki going after the Stratline. Loki banned on both sides. Emma consistently always gone. But this is going to be a little bit of a different composition here. We are going to see some changes up. Definitely not a map that you can try to hold at a spawn door, especially because it is convergence.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. I think that this map is, that's actually a good point you bring up. I mean, I don't think we've ever seen a first hold come through on these type of maps, right? On convergence, so like the triple Vanguard, triple strategist spawn holds.
Yeah, because yeah, it's simply because you could have someone sneak around, right? Like you could have a Psylocke sneak out and grab point and force eyes backwards. So yeah, it's impossible. It just doesn't make sense. But it is, you know, it is a decent thing to bring up because obviously that hasn't been the case, but it is kind of curious. But yeah, I mean, right now, Shroud X, they've got to figure it out. They do lock in that Strange or comfort pick.
Wait, that's actually a good point. Maybe it's not that it's impossible. Maybe it's more that the teams haven't tried it yet. Maybe like
okay.
It's like what, because if you do a Doctor Strange, I mean, like you have the portal back to point 2, right? So I mean, it's tough, I guess, for like your strategist to set up and stuff. And we've seen spawn door holds as well in other games as well. But I suppose in Marvel Rivals, spawn door holds are a lot harder when you don't have cover, like you mentioned. So I don't know. Maybe if you figure out these maps where you can set up a backline, you could definitely do something like that. I mean, we've already seen a lot of cheese, especially with the Spider-Man over to like Trust Me used to do like Spider-Man and then come back on Venom and Doctor Strange after trying to pull somebody off the map as the Vanguard. So it's definitely something teams might think about in the future.
And here we go again off the rip here. Very defensible position. We do see Ultron elected to be chosen on both sides. Vision, a very strong Ultron, has found success in the past. Found some W's actually against Techie on Racco. So a good choice here. Definitely changing things up as we see Impunity on Cap. Fidel on Invis. You've got Nuck on the Cloak and Dagger and the Psylocke out for Doomed. Almost matched exactly, except for Brute's going to be on Magneto, and there will be a Luna from Woofles. Oh, wait, excuse me. The damage boost here going to be out from Mantis, which is a little less of a healing composition and more of an aggressive comp as Brute finds one early for Tekixd.
Yeah, maybe that. I wonder if Brute was damage boosted for that, because now they're just walking on Shroud X, and this is sort of a not newer comp, but it's making waves. This sort of Mantis support strategist composition, just damage boosting everybody, having them come through. Do they even have a touch on the objective now? Impunity gets frozen. Portal has to come through now, but it's not there in time.
And that is a tough look. You need to get some momentum back here for Shroud X. Avery with a two-piece just to kind of stagger the team out. Make that three. Avery, a demon here on the Ultron, keeping the pressure on in the sky. Alts now, even so, are in the advantage of Techie. Will have a ton in this next fight. Impunity only able to get to 43 as we now see the changeover to Hulk.
I know we don't see it all that much. We do see, at least in the Asia region, I believe they do a lot of this Mantis damage boost onto the Ultron, get that 165 damage body shot, and just 2-tap backlines. So right now for Techie, they're playing heavily around Avery, like you mentioned, and oh my gosh, Blur falls so low, but he's able to get away as well, build up those Shredder's ultimates, which they are sitting on a lot of them on Tekixd's side.
Yeah, and we're going to see a ton of Qs popped here. Out goes that boundary just to kind of counteract here, Avery. But, you know, you get that ult back so quick here on Ultron, especially if you're able to land those shots, which you know people at this level do not miss. Aiming right towards the backline. Cap going to try to distract there. Very low, and down goes Doom. Good play there by Blur. Good focus and dive. Great positioning early on. Again, an advantage. Out goes that eye by Dongmin, but still counteracted here as we do see a ult from Nuck to keep the pressure forward. Vision is going to be playing. Oh, so they completely switch over to this composition that they're comfortable on, and here comes that Gamma turret again with Namor being chosen.
We'll see if it pans out. I know they played triple res on this map. In this fight, though, oh my god, very aggressive ult from Doom, met by Blur with the Freedom Charge. Vision's gonna go down on the opposite side.
Here we go, Brute with the two-piece. Just keeping the pressure forward. Techie looking so good. Impunity gonna drop bad Dongmin on Avery, and that's the trade you need as two strategists go down, trying to help you out in these long sustained fights. This will be the fight you need to take, but Tap takes out Impunity before they can even get eyes on. Knuckles looking backwards and trying to keep the strats up and alive and reset, but it was just a little to no avail. But Nuck gonna try to press forward and hold on to that point. We do have Dongmin full HP, full shield ready to buy some time, and here comes the Tap Psylocke ultimate. Out goes that dance, and it gets two, and that could be enough to make things dangerous on point two already with almost 3 minutes and 30 seconds. 3:17 on. Down go two more. Vision falls. Nuck falls. Techie just riding a wave here through Shroud X.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Tap we know and love. Tekixd play heavily around this man. Give him the damage boost. Give him whatever he needs, because right now, everybody is struggling with dealing with Tap. I mean, we saw Doom try to go for that 1v1. It's harder for him for sure, because he doesn't have that snowflake, that hard pocket, as well as having the potential drone whenever it's needed from the sky, from the Ultron. So Tap just has all the resources, and it's well deserved at the moment.
And here, we're going to see an Ultron's Rage very shortly. You initiate with it all the time. You force out the back line, and if not, you get a pick. It's just that simple, especially when you have aim like this. And here comes the aggression right now. They're going to use that movement speed boost just to help you mid-ult so you can juke vertically. As you see, just a ton of movement there. Very difficult to land shots. Nuck going to use that bond to press the team forward. Out goes the blind, keeping that damage boost up. You saw Hulk try to make a play there. Does escape. The Exile just barely missed Vision. And here goes that eye. Dongmin in the back line. Doesn't find enough to get a pick. It does not. Dongmin very low too. Down goes the Strange, and again Tekixd up in numbers. Woofles using that dance floor. Blur and Brute and Tap ready to launch ults to counteract the Whale and the dance. Fidel can use that invisible boundary. Great counter, but will that meteor land? And it does not. Good block there as they keep the pressure forward. But once again, Techie in great positioning here, shoving in with 3 minutes and 15 on. Out goes the Whale. Does it get anything? No, it does not. And these trades are key. They just keep going back in Tekixd's favor as Blur pops Cap.
Yeah, that's a nice pick on a cap. The difficulty is right now as the wipe comes through on the Techie for Shroud X that because they protected the Doctor Strange, that meant they could not protect Luna Snow. And we all know Luna Snow, you know, that combination with Luna Snow and the Namor Whale can pretty much one-shot anybody with the damage boost timing and in the Fate of the World's ultimate from Luna Snow. So because of the protection of the Doctor Strange, it resulted in them losing that Luna Snow and their backline maybe not as formidable, at least with dealing with the Psylocke, also enabling their own alongside that Namor. So that pick alone might really cost them this series, or at least this first round on defense, because of their composition sort of lacking a lot of that lethality.
That's a great point. I do love, you know, you bring it all the way back to the banding phase, and again, another slight win there for Techie, who's just finding these small advantages, forcing them to save that Strange. Really is going to be that advantage we talk about with Self with the Panther. If they have to ban that Panther, which is, you know, maybe considered more of an off-meta or at least a more unique pick, it is an advantage. Vision going to find Avery here, though, and put it back in the favor of Shroud X, who are now finding their footing 2 minutes on as they progress forward. Dongmin is holding on with Fidel and Impunity. They got to use these ults quickly before we see, and as I'm saying that, we are going to have Brute and Tap now ready to counteract and try to find something with the Meteor M and the Dance, but we will see who gets value first. Ult advantage slightly up here for Shroud X.
A minute 46 seconds left. You have to admit at least that Namor on this phase of the map can get a lot of work done in his position, but here comes Tap again. Everybody playing in the the Storm Daggers and staying alive, honestly, with that shift. But with those cooldowns out now, Techie knows that it's the go time. They can maybe connect onto somebody as they've gotten Shroud his cooldowns out.
And Brute gonna take that space back. Impunity gonna try to ult up. Great timing there. Great stuff there by Brute to read that, knowing that was coming. The Exile misses as well. Impunity just using that ult to keep himself healthy, and that's all that can be done in that moment. Buying time and stalling, but that is a win for Techie again with no picks on, with an ult as Hulk, which, you know, may not be considered strong, but we've been seeing more and more at this level of play. Hulk is very valuable, especially as you learn the animation canceled. And there goes that eye. Can they follow up? The Whale goes out by Vision and finds two, and that is a massive throw onto Avery and Ad.
Huge indeed. I mean, that Whale in the middle just does so much damage, and now everybody else is getting cleaned up. 50 seconds left to go. Shroud X finally stringing together some fights, but Tekixd, you know, we're entering the end of this point. 40 seconds left to go. Can Shroud X sort of stay strong, stay on course, because they're going to be up against every ultimate, 3 ultimates rather, coming up on 4 with that Meteor M. It's going to be a hard upcoming fight for them as they've only connected on Nuck and his internal bond in terms of ultimate charge.
Yeah, this is a terrifying fight for the side of Shroud X. Techie looking very confident, but look at these ults. Tap, Avery, and Ab ready. Brute very close as well. After here comes the counter from the Meteor. They got to get back quickly. You got to protect with out there. Good job with Strange to put that shield in front. That was a dangerous position to be in. That's going to buy some time, but again, Techie still heavily up in ult, and as soon as this goes down, Avery is going to pop that Ultron. Combined here with the Dance of the Butterfly, they find Vision. Nuck goes down. This could be it for Shroud X on the defense. Brute going to find Dongmin, and they are heavily down, and that is enough. They are going to have to stagger on a point. If that, great redrop, but you got to get back to the point. It may not be enough time to touch, and it's not.
Oh. He had to go back to spawn to heal, but, you know, unfortunately, Shroud X gets stopped at the very end, and it was a really hard fight, like you said, Shiv. I mean, you had 4 ultimate advantage. Nuck went early with his own ultimate, and once that was gone, especially all the cooldowns were used, everybody's trying to play in the Dagger Storm, right? Everybody's trying to play together, get healed up by Nuck and also by Fidel, but because everybody's grouped up, trying to spread also out the damage of the Dance of the Butterfly so nobody goes down, it's just resulting in also Avery with that Ultron's Rage over the top side following up. So just that extra bit of damage as well as the Mantis boost just resulted in so much throughput onto Shroud X, who were just trying to desperately stay alive. And I don't know how you really play that fight besides play aggressive there. I mean, maybe you could react a little bit better, but you don't want to give up too much space. There's so many things that you could change, and I'm sure Shroud X want to discuss that later on, but maybe it's an entire composition change, as we've seen them play this triple threat of this before.
Yeah, I mean, this is you can't really throw blame on anyone, excuse me, on the side of Shroud X, because you see the stat lines and they look very consistent. I mean, it's just a tough spot to be in. Techie is just on their game, and they're running this composition. They feel comfortable. You're going to damage boost Avery, you're going to damage boost Tap, and you're going to run through them with these ults, which come back really quickly, and they just keep turning it around. Vision going to be making a change here to Adam, which might help a little bit with some of these very strong ults plays. You can use that bond to essentially counteract, almost like a strategist ultimate in its own right. So we'll see if that finds value. I'm curious to see if that'll stick around. No, that is going to be changed out. So Shroud X, completely different composition here, as we now see Storm, Hela, Impunity is something's going to be changing here. They're probably trying to get the portal damage play with the mines. They are.
Yeah. Yeah, pull him in with the Ankh. And everybody's just gone. Oh, wait, Doomed is the one to fall. Huh?
Wow, I don't even know how that happened. Yeah, I'm not even sure how that happened.
I mean, Brute's just him, I guess. Like, this is just this is what we talk about. Brute, one of the best Magneto players, but damn. I mean, you talk about mental lapse there. Now they're gonna have to come back through. Doomed over to that Star-Lord though, so they're back onto that triple res composition. We've seen them play before, Shib.
And here we go, Avery keeping that damage out, trying to build towards that ultimate. Tekixd down a bit in terms of charge, just actually roughly even. And here we go. We do see a complete change of composition. I actually like this a lot. We do see the Guardians comp coming out here from Shroud. Definitely able to run that. Haven't seen it yet in this series. So this could be what they need to be more aggressive, to teleport play, to set up behind, the spin to win. Obviously with no bubble, still playing aggressively. Very difficult to find value in taking out a Star-Lord while he's dancing like that in the sky. So much movement, because you don't need to aim. It's all about movement at that point. Vision gonna find Ad though, and that is huge. Shroud X looking like a different team right now with the aggression. Down goes Avery too. Make that 3 for Doom, who is popping off on this Star-Lord, and they will get very close on point as they're slowly staggering down. A couple on the point here. Now, and used ultimate there for Brute, who does not connect. Dongman gonna find Brute, and it's just Tap, who is very low. Down goes Tap, and that is point 1 for Shroud X with 5 minutes on.
Yeah, they used the portal, but see, this is why I thought they were gonna do this on defense. Like, honestly, I thought they were gonna play the triple strategist composition. I guess maybe the match versus 100 Thieves sort of scarred them. I'm not sure, because I do feel like they are really good at playing this composition, as well as honestly in the matchup against the Ultron and the Luna Snow alongside Mantis. I don't feel like it has a massive advantage, but it does seemingly play well into that comp. So from what we've seen out of Shroud X, I'm just surprised they didn't play it on the defensive side earlier.
Yeah, I'm curious too. You got to be a fly on the wall in the room. I'm curious what the conversation was. Maybe they found that it wasn't as successful, or they didn't need to use it, or they didn't think they needed to use it into Techie, right? Like, it all kind of depends. I wish I could, be there to hear their thought process, but you are seeing value out of it so far. Shroud X heavily up in alt advantage. Elite after this is Impunity going to start rushing in with Cap here. Impunity obviously strong on these semi-dive Brawl heroes that get in there quickly. Cap a little more, or divey, excuse me, than Brawl, but we do see some strong play. Space taken, and now it's finally going back. Dongmin finds a ton. Down goes Tap. Trying to make it 2, but great bubble there from the side of Brute to keep the team healthy. Great sleep as well from Ad to buy some time. I really thought that was going to be bigger than it was, but it was a good idea and well executed. Just great defense.
Yeah, I mean, pretty well played by them. No ultimates except Tap with his own, Dance of the Butterflies for that soul bond alongside Fidel. I mean, they have the tools to react. Fidel commits the eternal bond.
Okay, and here we go again. Out goes Fidel with that bond, and the downtown throw onto Nuck there from Brute. That was a good throw. They're weaving that thing under. Nuck is going to res back, though, so the number's a little more even vision. Down goes Nuck again from Tap. Tap really quickly turning that around, found that position and just waited it out. Vision going to res back, just down 1 number right now, though it may seem like more. The reses are very strong, and here comes the team res as Nuck is back in this fight again. The bond goes out. Doomed on the back line. The dance floor is counteracting. Brute, oh my goodness, down goes Nuck and Vision. Not missing with these right clicks. Tap again on Fidel. A ton being utilized and no value as Tekixd comes out on top.
And to send it back to the ban phase as well, as we, potentially see the end of Shroud X if they can't find, any sort of ground. Again, another reason why in the ban phase they banned out those duelist only, why Techie is now in a great position, because they have that Magneto that you keep pointing out, shit, because you notice how much value Brute's getting. Also, you talk about how much that Magneto counters Star-Lord on top of the fact that the Magneto sets up Star-Lord. So there's the fact that they had the Doctor Strange and not the Magneto definitely counters this comp a little bit. So it feels like Techie definitely thought of both things. They thought about the fact that you can't damage boost that Namor. Also, on their attack, they can't, shield their Star-Lord in with the blasters. So many things have resulted in Tekixd having a large advantage here in terms of their compositions.
Yeah, I like how Techie Shroud X making a huge composition change here again, electing to no longer use the Guardians. They are going to keep Mantis on both sides for that damage boost, and that's going to be for that Ultron. Ultron dealing a ton of damage, but with that boost, it is significant. It's terrifying as it does clean up KOs like it's job, which it is. Avery using that Rage of Ultron, not able to find much. Ad going to counteract with a strategist ultimate. This is good for Shroud X, who still have 1 minute 40 on. Forcing out ults and not utilizing or overcommitting too much is what you need to do. As I say that, though, Nuck going to walk them right in. Doom, though, though, finding Avery. That damage boost, finding some value. Got to get the shield up. They do. And it does block Brute, Meteor, Impunity onto Woofles. And here we go again. Shroud X with a full composition change is now finding a ton of value. Tap gonna try to buy some time and come in again with that dance, or potentially saving it. Oh my goodness, what an exile there from Impunity to shut down Avery's teleport in, and Dongmin gonna wall up the point so they can press this through for point 2.
And they have to slowly walk past it themselves, and like you said, Impunity, huge exile from him in the spawn. That was massive. Also, honestly, the change to Ultron has helped them a lot. I mean, Tap has been a problem, like we've seen so far, and the fact that you're playing Triple Stratus alongside Ultron just makes it so these dives are not as strong necessarily from Tap. Although Shroud X, with their composition, they're going to need to get a few ultimate plays that are huge, because 2 minutes and 13 seconds on third phase is not exactly a lot, especially on this map on Hall de Jalia.
Yeah, we are going to see another large whale here. Vision known for landing these things like a champion. Obviously, no damage boost besides it. Fidel can get that cloak out quickly onto the back line. Here comes the Dance of the Butterfly. They are in that Dagger Storm. Very good at counteracting that ultimate, as it does give you 55 HP per second, and the whole team stacks in there. That just gives Cloak a ton of charge. So great decision making and great focus there as a team, walking them forward again. And Shroud X now with a minute 40 on, looking pretty good as they shove in with ult advantage. And here goes Avery with that rage, not able to find a ton of value just yet. Dongmin ready to try to get a huge Eye of Agamotto, bring it back to what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, I'm going to be up in terms of one ultimate here. Can they take advantage of it, though? Everybody's going to have to group up here. Fidel trying to back up to the team. Did use that cooldown to escape, and Tap's coming up with the Dance of the Butterflies. There's not going to be a ton to deal with it necessarily just yet. As Shroud X with the shield, they can stay alive, as well as deal with this Freedom Charge from Blur, who starts it off. Nuck counteracts with the Soul Resurgence.
Yeah, good play there by Nuck, walking towards the back line, not able to find any purchase yet on a pick, and the whole team of Shroud X playing very patiently, forcing out these ultimates. Now only 3 available, as Tap will be there soon for the side of Tekixd. And here comes everything for Shroud X. Doom is launching all Impunity as well. Dongmin with the eye. Dongmin finds 2 onto the back line of Avery and Ad, but Tap gets 2 onto the back line of Fidel, and Nuck, and Doom goes down. Wow, what a trade. Tap really clutching up there, needed to do that, and does do it. Oh, great exile by Impunity to escape. But wow, that was almost a Shroud X push through until Tap popped off.
Down to 30 seconds.
Yeah, it was a tough fight for them. I mean, Dongmin, you know, he kind of probably feels like he was the one that wanted to fall. Tap, though, hiding. 23 seconds left. We're going to have to watch that man, because we've seen how good he is. Visions on the opposite side with that whale, going to be one to watch for as well. It's going to be Visions versus Tap. I mean, Tap on that flank, he's going to be hiding, coming through in the last second to both strategist players with Shroud X who have to be aware. Same thing with Doomed.
7 seconds they have to touch here. 4, 3, will they get on? And they are on right now, so it will buy time. Yeah, they do have one on. Impunity is able to make that touch happen, but down 1, traded right back there. Doomed onto Avery. You gotta get the Hulk here back in form to try to fight, but no, down goes Hulk. Out goes the whale. It does not land, and that is trouble. Moby Dick just whiffing completely. Good idea, but the shield goes out. Vision finds Blur, though. Out goes the invisible boundary. Tekixd. Blur goes down with all. That's a tough look. Dongmin trying to take this space. Does have eye, and that's a terrifying spot to use it. Is in those alleyways. You really can't counteract much, as it is surprising. Tap trying to find an off-angle play, ready to touch if need be. Doom gonna find Avery, and there is that eye. It gets frozen, and they do take it through 3 and tie it up, and we go to OT. Wow.
I think I can't watch anymore. I think I'm good. I think I gotta dap out of your ship. I mean, this is intense. This is like genuinely like it's like. I mean, every time Shroud X and Tekixd, you talked about how they're very similar teams. Like Tekixd, they had everything to do. They had all of the right cards there to play with. And unfortunately, Shroud X, I mean, they read it. Doomed out of the sky. Avery got shut down. Not enough support in the skybox. And I hate to say it's the story of both teams, man. It really is. I hate to, I don't want to be mean, but you know, it's the battle of the choke artist sometimes. Like, it really feels like that. Like, both teams at the peak of the pinnacle of the game, when it gets really intense, I think, you know, struggle. It really feels that way, because Tekixd close to finishing out Sentinels, and then, you know, in overtime, Sentinels just had the most insane push. And now Tekixd, when they had all of the right plays, the right tools, they just lose it again. So I don't know, man. I mean, does Shroud X close it out, or does Tekixd win? I feel like the momentum is still not in either team's side.
Yeah, I mean, this is more than a battle. This is a war. It seems like they're clutching up in the moments that you can see. You almost can feel, it's like palpable. You can feel the intensity here. As you look at the entirety, Dongmin, again, with MVP bouncing back heavy here on that Strange, and that's why that lock comes through. Doomed, 21 eliminations there, 10 finals, looking really strong as well. And that's on that side of damage boost, but they are going to drop the Mantis now on both sides, at least so far in this composition. It's all about if they can hold him here on point one, it gives you that energy you may need to press through and try to turn this sweep around, get momentum back in your favor. Tekixd had him there, and they are going to actually have Ad go back to the Mantis, keeping Avery juiced up here, and instead Nuck is going to be playing the Cloak and Dagger. Fidel going to be on that invis, and they are going to try to use damage boost from the Cloak play.
Right, that's a good point. Yeah, the Mantis only putting that on one. The Terra Cape can connect onto multiple people and give your team a huge damage boost, but in terms of how they're playing right now, it's super grouped up together. Shroud have all of the positioning. Oh, the blur!
Wow, that is huge. Yeah, that is huge. That is a massive pick there for Vision. Now it has to be a teleport play back. I mean, 14 seconds on, it's all about the touch now. Keep the pressure on. If I'm Shroud X, walk him in a little bit. Don't let him come back and touch. But now this panic, this fear makes it so they're more vulnerable. But Tekixd clutches up in moments like this. Shroud X needs to do the same, keeping the pressure on. There is that Ultron drone, and the teleport almost kidnaps there. It does kidnap Dongmin, who walks through it by accident. Comes back through the portal, though. Is going to get healed up and use it as some sort of cover on his own. Impunity trying to dive directly towards the back line. Doom going to be using that Ultron's Rage. All the Qs being popped as Ad does the same. Doom as well. Fidel at 90, Nuck at 89. You've got to get there to retake the point. First tick goes down for Techie. Almost second, halfway through. You don't want to let that happen. You want to make sure you can turn this around in a single tick. Tap on Division, though. Out goes the Bond. Does it keep the team up? Eternal is going to hold on, but they are down in numbers. Vision down, and Blur takes out Impunity. Two numbers up here as we do see that invis boundary.
And Fidel's ulting there. Dongman's here.
Oh my goodness.
But he hit it. Avery's down.
Fidel goes down too, and that was a pick there, but now it's an overcommitment of ults. You almost want to hold on when you go down like that, but it's just a tough decision because you can't decide if you can get those picks, even being down numbers, or if you need to win the next fight right outside of this garage. That is a tough look, as now Techie will be closer to ult advantage. Oh, that is a really well done job here by Techie to stay patient, even being down a number early with 15 seconds on and retaking with that teleport to take the point.
Yeah, overtime gonna go to 0. Here's that portal that they come out on the other side. Ultimate's there. They do have that whale, but Blur also sitting with Diabogamoto.
Yeah, we're going to see a damage boost come out here and then the whale to follow right up just to try to get a combo wombo. But at this point, it's all about Blur with this eye. This could be terrifying. Tap is ready for another Dance of the Butterfly. His Cutterflies have found so much value and forced out so many ultimates, and there it goes on the entirety of the stack. They are grouping well as they do hold on. They stick inside that bubble, as you saw there. That does build that ult very quick here for Nuck, who's back at 83%.
Diabogamoto shielded, gets the squid. Not enough, but you do get the cooldown out of the Namor. That could result in something later on.
Yeah, Vision still holding onto this whale, ready to make a play with it. Down, Brute not able to find value there. Techie not finding a ton here with these ults, but already Avery back here to use this Ultron. Probably going to pop soon. Impunity and Nuck. Out goes that Eternal Bond again. Vision trying to look for a play, and Impunity with a nice pick there on Woofles. And Vision on to Ad. This could be the take they need, and way to come back and hold this after that take. But now all the pressure's on attack. They should be able to own this, but we'll find out shortly. Yes, they do, as down goes Tap and Brute.
Yeah, I thought they almost won it. I mean, Doomed got picked onto that Ultron, but they're able to come back through. Huge stuns, huge follow-up with the whale, slows down that soul resurgence. So Tap almost played it perfectly, had the double dash away, lived. Unfortunately, the rest of his team got caught out, but like you mentioned, I mean, Techie got it so far. Shroud X now over to attack. I mean, last time we seen Techie in a situation like this, they were midway through the map on Spider Islands. Now we move over to Convergence. Maybe first points are easier to hold, but still so much pressure on both teams. Tournament life on the line for Shroud X. Techie as well. They could punch their ticket to the next round. Not to China just yet, so there's still another game they would have to play later, but a huge adrenaline dump this game is sure to be. As at the moment, Techie, you know, so much pressure on them to close out against Shroud X right now.
Yeah, I mean, heart rate's through the roof right now. That money on the line, the trip to China on the line here. These teams, somebody is not going to progress forward, is going to be taken out of the Ignite series, and I know how much it means to them. But I know there's chances for them to come back in the future as we progress through mid-season, but at this point, it's all about making history and being in China at the first ever LAN event. So I know teams want it. I can't imagine how these two teams are feeling.
Fortunately for them, I mean, there's that qualification into stage 2 is not necessary, as they would be automatically qualified. So at least there's some solace in that. But regardless, like you said, Shib, there is so much pressure on the line. I'm just thinking of ways to potentially cope with what potentially could happen here as Tekixd. Similar comp they played earlier. Shroud back on that Namor again.
Yeah, Tekixd not going to change up this comp at all. They're finding value with Avery giving that damage boost, and, you know, throwing to this Psylocke, and tap on Psylocke is already a threat enough. Imagine that extra damage here. Shroud X already having to press in, but they are shoving them back into that corner. The height being owned there, as you see Blur try to take out Impunity. Impunity just jumping all over the place as you need to with Hulk. Out goes that. Oh, as long as you can dance as a team inside of that Dagger Storm, it's huge. You get that all quickly. Great pressure here by Dongmin, who shoves them back, and we do see the entirety of the team force backwards. Good space here by Shroud X. Impunity doing a great job jumping all over the place and diverting focus tap on the high ground. Here comes raw damage and potentially getting that all. Vision onto Blur, though. Again, Vision, one of the strongest Namor players. The team saying the very best in the business on this hero. And there goes that. Oh, good blind there, forcing the entire team backwards. Not even have to use too much. And ult advantage is very close here. This is going to be a huge fight, as we will see 1,000 Qs being popped.
Yeah, I mean, these eliminations are big. Maybe they can find potential staggers. Blur comes back. They needed to find those eliminations, because otherwise Shroud's ultimates were built up, and like you said, here they are.
And out goes Avery with that rage. Doesn't find a ton, as Cloak is going to hide everyone. And there is the match back there for the side of Doomed, who also not able to find any picks. He does force out a few, and here comes the eye from Dongmin. A little bit too high. The whale going to land and take out Avery. Is that enough? Down goes Brute. And it looks like Shroud X are up by 2. Can they keep the pressure on? Shoving forward, but the dance floors here. They will teleport back quickly.
Tap does have the dance butterflies, but it's met by the invisible boundary. No way, straight and Doomed on the ad. He's gonna fall as well.
And this is so back and forth, but Shroud X is up. Here comes the teleport. Will it be enough? Blur trying to hold on here. Gonna force out that out. Vision onto tap, though. Vision onto Blur. Shroud X wants to push this series farther, as they are so close to taking this W. They cannot stop now. Vision onto Broom, Dongmin onto Avery, and Shroud X do it. They shove through. They get the job done, and they clutch up when they need to. Unless, no, there's no chance. It's 1-1 at this point, and this is Shroud X as they take home a W.
Dude, I mean, I'm gonna go read Moby Dick after this. Like, that white whale is just so alive. Shroud X need to get it. They need to get this reverse sweep in order to break the curse that is losing perpetually. And in the biggest tournaments, right? They're such a good team, but every single time when it matters most, they lose. And it's the same thing for Tekixd, man. Is there 2 white whales? Is that what's going on? Is there 2 Moby Dicks? Like, what the hell? Tekixd is a team that it feels like when they're about to win, they just lose grasp. They need to refocus for the next map if they want to close out versus a good team like SDX.
I've said it once and I'll say it again. I just want good games. And yes, this is a good game. We talk about the only issue with Shroud X, a ton of talent, being they need to clutch up in those moments. And we know Tekixd got what it takes. They are such a strong team. I have no doubt that they're going to make this next game again super terrifying for the hearts of Shroud X, who are just trying to hold on to that dream of getting to the land. Wow, these plays were so back and forth. This is one of the most intense matches of Marvel Rivals I have ever witnessed, all the way through to the final point. But that early pick was everything, and Vision finding that value early every time, especially in OT, was massive.
Absolutely. I mean, it was such an incredible game on both sides. And then towards the end, I mean, Vision just came through in that clutch right with the whale. I mean, his own teammate talked about how good he is on Namor. Definitely deserves the praise, because I mean, Vision just connected with that whale, found the pick as well with the squids. And this is what I was talking about. It actually it sort of it alleviates some of the pressure when, you know, you do get those equipment squids, like you said, Shib. You get the gamma squids, you get the regular squids, and it does take off a lot of that pressure of having to aim, right? You just have to hit a right click, and then, oh my god, those squids are just doing so much damage. So, you know, it was hard for Tap to stay alive versus that. It was hard for the opposite side, for Avery, to get a lot going, especially as he was going so high. I mean, we almost saw Doomed go a little bit too far forward, but he saved that shift, got back to his team on Ultron, let Visions kind of do a lot of that dirty work. And I mean, an MVP by Dongmin for sure, had a huge Eye of Agamotto as well.
Yeah, if you doubted Dongmin with this Lock of Strange, hopefully this proves you wrong. Really well done with 11 finals. Big Eye of Agamotto, the combination there with the whale. You're freezing them, you're sending their soul out, and you're putting your Moby Dick on them just to eat both sides. And it just worked a ton, especially in OT. Any pick is value, and they managed to shut down Tekixd in that fight, and that was everything. At that point, it was just a stagger fest just to see if they could retake, but there was just no shot. When you're up that kind of numbers and you're forced to slowly trickle through that portal, there is just no way to bounce back. Oh my goodness, what a game.
What a game indeed. Shout out Nikki Jakey for one of the best songs of all time. Best rap songs in my opinion. Sorry, Jakey. Moby Dick, shout out. I got to shout out that song. I like it so much. But anyways, what a series it's been. I mean, Techie, whew, I mean, it happened again, man. Losing when it mattered most. Same thing. Shroud X were able to clutch up. It's down to the wire now. I mean, you could get reverse swept. We saw it happen before with Envy and FlyQuest, and it could very well happen again today.
Dude, I am sweating. These games have me sweating. I have AC running right next to me. I am so invested in these games. I love seeing it tight like this. What a bounce back. Is the momentum going to shift? That's where we got to, you know, we'll see as we start this next map. But you got to remember now, Techie is going to be choosing this map. It is going to be domination, I believe, as now we've finished all three. So we'll cycle back around. You know, it could be anyone's game.
Could be anyone's game for sure. We'll have to see what map is chosen. I mean, Techie has to go back to the drawing board, see where they played best. And I mean, they could really play anywhere. I think a lot of these maps they've played solid on. Shroud X usually does win on domination, and maybe they could utilize some of that advantage that they finally could get some momentum moving back forward. But we'll see, man. I mean, Shroud X are potentially could do it, right? And this is definitely the series you want to tell your friends about. You talked about how an incredible series this has been. I think it's incredibly intense, I imagine, for the viewers, for you guys watching at home. This has got to be definitely one of the most intense games of Marvel Rivals esports you have ever seen. So just imagine what it's like to be a player in this case. For Shroud X and Techie, they're both sweating probably for sure. Make sure you guys are staying tuned into the stream, getting those Twitch drops on Magic. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break.
Shroud X took a map back, and we have a series on our hands, folks.
Absolutely, an insane series, Shib, and man, 2-1. We've said a lot in this series, and I don't know what else needs to be said besides getting game. You know what I mean? Like, we just got to get casters, get the game going. Let's get in there because, man, I just want to see this next one. I mean, it's literal cinema right now, and you got to tune in. If you have friends interested in this game, maybe you want to check out Marvel Rivals for the first time, haven't seen a hero shooter just yet, now is their opportunity to watch the esports scene at its peak for sure in terms of intensity, right? I think we've seen an incredible set of games so far. I mean, day one was also cinema. Every day has been awesome in these playoffs in North America. Make sure you guys are tuning in to watch Cozy and Vicky alongside in their cast, as well as everybody behind the scenes. So many people have done a great job, as well as the co-streamers, so shout out those guys, because right now, I mean, nothing else needs to be said except head into map 4 for an incredible banger of a series between Shroud X and Tekixd.
Yeah, I'm with you. You talk about just the adrenaline. You want to get in there and play. I'm with you. My adrenaline's pumping, and I'm just watching. I can't imagine the comms in these rooms between these teams. You know, a lot of them maybe not linked up there for a boot camp, but over the web, just the amount of yelling has got to be so exciting here. Shroud X going to try to move with that momentum. The reverse sweep is on the table, but Techie, an incredibly strong team. That banning phase was slightly different, allowing Ultron through on both sides, but it's seemingly, you know, it's difficult to match them up together in terms of what Ultron got more value, but it was very much a factor, especially with that damage boost.
Early protect to the Doctor Strange could be a factor, as we said, with that mag ban, forcing maybe that out later on could also allow them to play that Captain America still. So maybe Techie focusing on Vanguards this time. Shroud X understanding that. I mean, they have to have that flexibility to switch between them. You know, I'm curious to see what to do. And you know what? The fact that we had to burn into T'Challa, you know, I think for the side of Techie, the Luna ban was great. And I think you got to kind of stick with that, honestly, because, I mean, I would not be surprised if Shroud X wants to run that Namor stuff yet again, or even ban it out. Like, it just force Shroud X to play something else besides that Namor composition, because I think Burn into T'Challa is one of the best maps for the Namor Hulk composition. We'll see what Techie does. I think, you know, they did deal with it well when they had that Bucky, but regardless, it is really good on this map.
Yeah, I'm curious too. I'm wondering why that hasn't been chosen yet, as it is so common. You know, they're willing to run anything, and that Shroud's one of those teams that they have so much in terms of their roster, in terms of what they can pull out, and down goes that Luna, like you mentioned, happening there. But still going to be Hulk and Namor available. They are going to have Ultron available again on both sides, at least so far, as we get into the final ban here from Shroud X. So, you know, I think the bans have definitely changed, and I think Shroud X has found a comp that works. But we know Tekixd always plays aggressively, and they play around these very strong duelists, these aggressive vanguards, and these strategists that are constantly getting MVP, just looking really good out there. Such a solid team, so confident together, but Shroud X really stepping it up in those intense moments.
And they're allowing that Psylocke to be played again on tap side. I mean, I guess the real answer for Tekixd there, if they do play this Namor stuff again, is, you know, go back to that Bucky stuff, right? It feels like the Bucky was shutting down the Hulk. A lot of the value Impunity was finding was negligible. It does really change on domination, I suppose, and also same thing with Convoy and Convergence. You kind of want to stick with the composition, you know, keep up that snowball, especially if you feel pretty confident with that Ultron composition. But it doesn't necessarily feel like Shroud X were hard countered by that comp as well. Regardless, heading into Burn of T'Challa, the second Wakanda map of this series, I mean, it's anybody's game still. Like, I feel like the slight changes in composition could really impact the overall look. And, you know, both teams, I'm sure, are going to roll out with something interesting but familiar.
Yeah, and we see that, again, the percentages shift again. They were on Tekixd side heavily in the last map. Now, back with Shroud X, but look at that number, roughly even. You got fans on both sides. This is intense. Dongmin getting that strange lock on lock 1 is, honestly, I would have expected it after that performance, really finding value. And then when they do make that switch and they do throw those whales out there, that combination of ultimates maybe a little bit slept on.
By the way, that's Blade's bed, right? Just off topic.
It was. He's awake now, man. He's gone. He's no longer there. Yeah.
He's gone. He's headed to your house, Shib.
Didn't even make the bed, man. It's messed up. You know what I mean?
I know. Left it. Well, he's got his friend there. He's got the Black Panther with the eyes, with like freaking out. Like that Black Panther just saw the last map. I mean, he's just like absolutely raging after that one.
Yeah, what we talk about a lot here is they do break the center of this map if you're running flyers right now. They're not going to be doing that because it looks like only Avery, at least Shroud X won't want to, as Avery's going to be the only one in the sky at this point with Ultron. But Blur going to be on the Venom, and we see Brute back on that mag consistently, sleeping right now from the Mantis. Mantis, again, they are running that damage boost. They actually have the full Guardians comp here. They want Doom to pop off, and they do allow through the bubble, and that combination is terrifying. Spin to win with the bubble, so you will see Impunity consistently throwing that bubble on Doom.
Well, and we're seeing them play the triple comp as well for both sides, and I figured maybe Shroud X could benefit from playing this Namor stuff, but didn't want to play against the Bucky. So it's interesting that they did play that. Regardless, now here comes that Eternal Bond. Ultimates have been built. Only one elimination.
Wow.
In the sky, though. Doom, nice tracking.
Yeah, great work there by Doom. I mean, that was disturbing, just not missing a single shot and then spinning to finish it off as Doom finds Brute. Well done again. That Blaster Barrage is so, I mean, it's so valuable. Everyone knows it, but if you don't, for those who may be climbing ladder, when you are using that Blaster Barrage, use your flight, you know, your meter of flight, because you can actually use that flight during the animation of the Blaster Barrage and kind of take any sort of Z-axis direction, use that ascend and descend, and just consistently juke. It is so hard for the enemy to hit you, especially if you have a bubble, and you get alt charge incredibly quickly. And at this level, you'll see them doing it all of the time.
And I'm dumb. I'm dumb, by the way. Completely flew over my head that Magneto went through, resulting in these bubbles coming through on the Doom in the sky. Able to get so much value on Magneto, blocking the sky, the Meteor on the other side on Brute.
And Doom goes up, just buying time at this point. Not going to get a ton of value there, but it does, you know, give them some time on point. 36, and here comes, they do a great job at using that Dagger Storm to counteract, but Ad still finds Dongmin through that. So at this point, they're just going to hold the point for as long as possible and then reset together. 44 on the clock right now. Avery, oh, here comes the res. Dongmin's back, and they're going to potentially bond up, and that is very valuable. This pick rate may not matter. Right back into the res again. Remember, when you're on Warlock, your body is the beacon for the res. It's not the location of where you put the beacon. It's actually where your body is. So walk in after the fact, and if your team falls, you'll be able to bring them back. That is a tough look there, throwing that right into the middle. Unfortunately there for Impunity, but the idea is still there. Avery going to take out Impunity after that. Double whammy there. It's got to hurt, but 66 already for the side of Shroud X.
And they're still alive. They come back through Eternal Bond. They're building up all that point, and that was Vision, you know, with that huge resurrect on the bottom left. You saw him slowly sort of walk away from the point, resurrect Dom, and bring him back into the fight. Now they have Agamotto after Wolfo's ultimate is gone.
Here goes that eye. It does not find a lot of value. Dongmin getting some value with those over the last map, and nothing there. Not going to res back up, and still Shroud X. All that matters right now is they're holding on to this point. They're not too worried about it. Doom goes up in the sky. Brood going to find Vision, though. Vision may not have that res back. We'll find out shortly if so. There goes Doom with that spin. This is what I'm talking about. Notice the flight just juking everywhere. Very difficult to hit tap find Vision after the res. So the res does come through in another pick, as now Avery going to use that Rage of Ultron to find 2 more. Great work. Make that 3 as Avery finds 4. An absolute demon here with the Ultron.
And nice plays from him, and sometimes you have to be that sacrificial lamb if your Vision, you know, on that Adam Warlock took the brunt of that damage from Brute in that Meteor M, resulting in him going back in that that cocoon to come back. But they're switching off of it. Now they're going back over to that Namor composition. I figured, you know, they were doing good actually with Doomed on that Star-Lord, just kind of let the Doomed carry sort of angle on that Star-Lord, but now they're back over to this character onto that Namor, just building up a whale, considering they only need to win 1 fight. We've seen this with like sort of Storm and Jeff combination with the Eat. You know, nowadays we see it kind of with this Mantis now alongside that that Namor with Doomed on that Ultron.
And here we go with the engagement again. Blur, oh, kind of messing it up there. Tries to get the dive. He's going to use that ult, but right into the shields. It does actually wait a little bit. It does go through, but that combination ultimate essentially wasted, as it does actually, Fidel does force out the bond at least, but that shield from whole community, incredible timing, honestly, almost negating 2 ultimates and then allowing Fidel to ult onto point. Shroud X has found their rhythm, and there is that change as we're talking about to that composition. They run so well. Vision back on the Namor, and Tekixd just does not want to seem to ban this thing out, but it's all about this next fight as we do have the whale available. Dongmin with the Eye of Agamotto, that combination, seeing a ton of value so far. Tap finds Doom, though, who is now also on the Ultron, and this is looking like Tekixd will hold on with ult advantage. The whale goes out, does not land, but it is taking space. There goes that eye. Does it find value? I don't believe it does. So that's a couple ults that are being used with no avail, but they do have point. Yeah. That's a good call.
They flipped the point, but it doesn't really matter because they're still winning the fight. Apologies for that shit. Didn't mean to ruin the flow.
Oh, you're good, brother.
Reclaims it. 52% on the board. Shroud now have to come back, and I don't know. I mean, I do like the Namor stuff. It just feels weird switching it up in the middle of a round, and also with how Tekixd was playing around that you saw. I mean, they zoned out that whale. They knew what to do against it. They just popped that Soul Resurgence from Ad. They also have Avery connect on the drone to keep them healthy. So as long as everybody avoids that center area and there's no Lunastone in the game, it makes it a lot easier to kind of deal with that damage.
Avery again starting off here with Ultron's Rage, going to look directly, and you can kind of see how tanky that Gamma Squid is. It is tough to take down, but that is a huge combination. There's that combination they were looking for before, as both Blur and Tap all combo up. 85 on now, and now Tekixd with a reverse sweep in terms of point percentage, gaining their way through. Will they be able to touch with a teleport?
I think they just used it too, right? So there's no portal play here now, and they have to send Impunity to touch, but he's going to go into Bruce Banner form, and you know that unfortunately with that character, you know, you'd lose that point percentage for a second. Here he comes, overtime ticks down. Do they have ultimate? Stradix not even close to anything, so I mean they're just funneling in no Adam Warlock to bring back that Star-Lord. It's just 1 by 1.
Ooh, and that is a pick on Nuck there. They are going to stall a little bit on point, but at this point it seems inevitable, like Thanos. Brute and Ad holding on as Ad now pops off, and at this point they're going to commit no matter what to get this first map win. Tekixd with a nice patient composition holding on as Blur takes out Fidel, and Waffles, and that's going to be enough as Tekixd takes point 1.
Yeah, I feel like that was not a good idea to switch to the Namor comp. I don't know. Like I liked it at the very beginning for sure,
yeah,
but maybe not halfway through the map. I don't know. Like you're at 99, you're doing well with Visions on Star-Lord. Just let him cook, man. I mean not Vision, sorry, Doomed on Star-Lord. Like Doomed was doing so much on Star-Lord with the Magneto and stuff, and I don't know. I mean, there's got to be some reason in the comms. Maybe Doom not feeling totally comfortable in the Star-Lord, understanding the Meteor M's always a problem. There's a lot of things I'm sure going through Shroud X's head as they lose that first round, which is a solid map for the Namor, but you can see what happens when teams are prepared, ready to go against that Namor Squid, Namor Whale, especially when you have Tap on the other side, 23-0. Man didn't die a single time. Wow. On top of 8 elimination or final hits. Yeah,
that's disgusting. But I'm with you. Like, why change the game? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It was working really well for you guys, and you were holding on tight all the way to 99, and then come back with a switch comp. I just don't think it was necessary, as they were playing so well with it. As we do see the complete return in competition here.
Well, they're getting off the Magneto now. Now they're on to that Captain America. I mean, it makes sense if you want to go for dives and stuff, but man, they're really messing with Impunity's hero pool right now because he's gone to Hulk, he's gone to Magneto, he's gone to a lot of stuff. We'll see what happens, but Tekixd, ultimate advantage now. Shroud understanding that probably maybe want to win this in this neutral.
Yeah, we will have vision soon. It's very difficult to get a ton of value with Warlock until the later fights when it gets a little more hectic, especially early on like this. You're not going to just pop that thing off the rip. But Nuck holding on to all Dongman with the Eye of Agamotto. Will that get value? Avery just pumping out damage, breaking down shields, and locked back into a corner. There's that Eye, and that is big. Can they collapse? Dongman gets a three-piece, an absolute beast here with the Eye of Agamotto, and that's how you need to start this map if you want to start getting some charge and progress forward with an advantage.
And first fight win, we've seen it before. Can they do it again? Everybody sent back to spawn on Tekixd side. Shroud's going to win the point. I have Agamotto used in comparison to Brew with that Meteor M. The damage negated for Shroud X now. They have to come back in. Meteor M is gone. Doomed should have a free ultimate after Shroud. His ultimates are gone, but tapped with the Dance of Butterflies is always scary to look out for. Fidel gonna have to watch that. Also, Tap can maybe get a one-shot even before these Shroud's ultimates are popped, but the Resurrects are always a thing you have to worry about with the Atom Guardians composition.
Yeah, I think right now Impunity is just on the jump on the Luna position and just distract, very similar to how Blur is handling the back line here. But the difference is when you have Warlock with Bond available, if you have that sleep ready from Nuck, it is far more difficult. Yes, there's the freeze and the sleep as well, but Warlock Bond is by far one of the best counters to any sort of dive positioning. And here goes the spin to win by Doomed, obviously without the shield. Blur finds vision there. Rez likely is up, hasn't seen that fall, and there's that Rez. Nuck on to Brute, back on this composition. Things are looking up again for Shroud X, who are holding on to the point. Woofles with the dance floor, and there goes Tap, who finds value onto Nuck, who just rezzed up. Oh, excuse me, that was actually Vision, I believe. So Nuck's right back into the fight again. Vision still holding on to that Warlock Rez Dongman with Eye again and Nuck, and it looks like Shroud X are back on their game, feeling confident again as Brute is going to actually cancel that TP and elect to not use it.
Well, yeah, that cooldown still gets used too, right?
Yep.
So
3 minutes.
I don't know. I mean, like, it was tough because any elimination Shroud X finds is massive. No Resurrects for Tekixd, right? So Blur going down. I believe it was Brute also falling. A lot of these, even one elimination matters because if you trade out an Adam Warlock who has the res, that matters. Look at Impunity, by the way, lurking over the top, ready to go for a dive onto the back line.
Alt advantage again, Shroud X. Brute, what a neutral shot there. Down goes Doom. Does have Rez up. Back into the fight he goes. And that's where those trades are so annoying to handle, right? You call it out that you got to pick. And you find out the hard way that you did not in the grand scheme of things. Avery got to get walked on here by Mantis. Nuck playing hyper aggro. Take that space because you can be very aggressive and deal a ton of damage when you have the right person on that. Mantis Doomed. Gonna find Tap, and that's a huge early pick. Make that 2. Make that 3 as Doomed. And 4, soon to be 5. What a piece here, trying to get point 3, and they will not have teleport. So that should do it for point 2, map 2. And it's going to be tied up going into the final map.
That's exactly how I feel. That Black Panther, I mean, my eyes separated. Warrior falls next round, and this is what I was talking about Shib earlier, when it does feel like, you know, the Mantis comps against, you know, triple Stratus, Ultron Mantis alongside the Luna Snow against an Adam Warlock, Cloak and Dagger and Mantis, or any sort of third support, Cloak and Dagger. It could be Luna Snow, it could be Loki, whatever. The biggest problem is that, yeah, you're just giving up all of that res potential. You're unfortunately on the Mantis, for as good as it is, like, you get so much damage. If you find a pick, it doesn't matter sometimes because 3 people can just resurrect back in the fight, and you're just giving up that entire team up by not playing the Atom. I get why. I mean, I've seen in other regions they play that sort of stuff, and I like it, but I feel like nowadays it just feels like the Adam Warlock Guardians comp, it just beats out triple strategist if you don't have it on your side. But we saw on Convoy and stuff, it's a little bit different because it's harder to set up those res locations and stuff. But yeah, at least on Domination, it feels like the Adam Warlock comp kind of beats it out. Now Techie changing things up entirely. Ship, they got that Bucky out, they got Avery on that comfort pick, which he did so well on before.
Yeah, good call. I mean, it worked for him last time. Ooh, aggressive teleport, maybe a kidnap play. They are going to elect to go back to the beginning, trying to find somebody here. And it goes out, and they are going to heavy commit. Can they find something? They do. Impunity onto Avery. What a play here by Shroud X. Going to have to return back to point shortly, shoving it back in the spawn door. Make that 2 as they're going to walk down the rest. 4 seconds before the portal can even be gained. Doomed. Going to try to spin here, but Tap does not miss. You got to be careful up there. Good return back to the point, and what a play by Shroud X.
And they're escorting Fidel and Nuck again because you can see how terrified they are of Tap. I mean, that guy has done so much before. Even though the reses are up, Vision has his own ultimate. Maybe he'll wait till after he reses to use it to go up to the high ground. This fight going to be drawn out for the side of ShroudX. Obviously, the pick potential is still there for ShroudX, even though on the opposite side, you do have Avery now on Bucky. They have to deal with that quick reset.
Yeah, I mean, ult advantage for ShroudX again. Actually, it's going to get tight here for Techie, who is slightly behind Avery, getting there as well. Here comes the dance of the butterfly and the bubble out, keeping the team inside of that. And Tap still finds Fidel. That is a crazy pick. Surprised that came through. Well played as Blur used the clobbering time to help that out. The Born again goes out. They're just trying to stall. Great eye of Agamotto again, but down goes Dongman after the fact. And it is going to be counteracted. The whole team resing back in. Just buy time on the point. Try to get as much time on as we are at 43%. And Techie is going to lose that dance floor soon. Impunity, great pick onto Ad. Vision onto Avery. And they do retake from the res. What a play as a unit on this Guardians comp.
Yeah, I don't even think ShroudX expected to get that kill, that KO onto Ad. I mean, he was just on the back of the point. He was about to ult, and then, I mean, just take it, right? Fidel committing that ultimate. Maybe they didn't even need to, but regardless, now into this next fight, Ad will have ultimate. Meteor M's available to counter out Doom. No res as well. Vision just used his. But we are now at 70% of the point on Warrior Falls. And right now, ShroudX are in the lead to keep moving forward on this tournament.
Yeah, now it's a little chess game. Do you want to use that legend to pull out the Meteor M? Yes, you do, apparently. Ooh, good bubble. That was almost an insane position there on the pick. Out goes the Meteor right to the back line, but I believe Bond was out. Nobody taking much damage. Might have been a shield there from Dongman. They are owning this position again. Doom's going to go in here and try to spin, but 48 HP, good juking. Look at that movement. It is insane. Back onto the point again, but down goes 2. Make that 3 as Tekixd is now stepping up. Not going to res up and just try to hold the point. Doom going to res up. Here goes Tap again. Avery, Tap, Ad, and Blur cleaning up the rest of ShroudX and taking the point, but 99%. It is a one-fight game here for ShroudX.
All right, so like you called out, Shib, Doom did not both use their passive. Vision canceled his, so he'll still have that up for this next fight. Also, we'll have res up. But I mean, what is ShroudX going to do, right? Not switch to the name war comp. That's already step number 1. Step number 2, now walk to the point. They have to kind of come back. They will be against double duelist ultimates. Dogman's big before, but sometimes he does go a little bit too aggressive with these Eye of Agamottos and gets picked off.
And what a call out, because Vision, when you have that res available still, you can actually use it to take flight and height. So you can actually fly up to one of those high ground peaks that maybe are not getting looked at, and then you start your res. So great decision there to hold on as out goes Cap. Oh, what a shot there by Avery. Down goes Doom. That is an early start here for Techie, who are at 41% and climbing every arm in the game here. Dongman does find a few. Avery turns it around on Nocto and Fidel. Avery says, nah, this is not going your way with a 4-piece and takes that back. And they still did not overcommit. Also, the entirety of the team is rezzed up during that ultimate. There's no reset still, and there goes a Tap. The Bond is out to buy some time. Wow, I cannot believe they held on through those ults as Techie committed everything. Vision still finds Blur. Wow, ShroudX with a retake. 2 go down. Fidel has the Eternal Bond. That will come out soon too. And what a game. ShroudX looking like they're going to push this to the final game. And what a series as we do get shoved in. The teleport might come through here for Blur though. And oh, it does not. ShroudX shoving this to game 5.
Oh my God, and that's all in for them as well. I was a little worried because I believe Doomed as well wasn't a part of that res because he went down earlier on, got picked. His res timer went off, so he was back in the spawn and he didn't have the passive. So maybe Doom didn't want to commit it at that point, or sorry, Vision didn't want to commit it, understanding maybe that they didn't need to use it for that Star-Lord. And it was actually a smart play. Like you mentioned, they stayed up, they stayed together, they come back through with Stratus ultimates. They also commit that soul bond to stay alive and able to come back through, play patient, and that's exactly what you need to see out of a team right now against a team like Tekixd, who is formidable. So now we're going to map number 5. I want to see where we get taken to, because currently, I mean, Tekixd, they've been on the back foot, and it's every time it feels like they're right there, Shib. Every time it feels like Techie's about to close out on ShroudX, and then they just lose grip again, man. So map number 5 coming up. I need to see some life out of them, because that was kind of brutal to see at points.
I mean, you couldn't have more of a visual statistic on the fact that this was a Guardians comp, besides the fact that you look at Tekixd and their, like, just their ratios, their KDs, their KO ratio across the board. They had far more picks. I'm talking 36 at the top here for the side of Blur. The next closest on the opposition at 22 and 20 after that, and then you get into the teens. It is all about the reses with that composition and just winning the long game. It doesn't matter if you fall, as long as you're patient and calm, and that is where this level of play comes into fruition. It's all about, can you stay calm? And look at this ult here from Dongman. This was a massive one as 3 go down.
Absolutely. I mean, Dongman really put the team on his back at points on that Doctor Strange, just creating so many ultimates, just finding so many perfectly timed ones as well. And that's a good call out. You know, I think that these stat watchers potentially is the way I like to call it. Just sometimes stats don't matter, guys, especially when we're playing this triple strategist composition. You know, it's not all about the stats. It really isn't. And you know, you're supposed to get a lot of eliminations when you're running a 2-2-2. You're supposed to do a lot of damage on Bucky. On Shroud's side, when you're playing that triple Guardians composition that's based around Resurrects, it's fine going down. I mean, finding only 1 elimination is huge in that composition. So that's honestly why. I mean, if you looked at ranked and stuff, when you play certain comps and you see certain things, especially on like dive, if you have like a Wolverine player who's maybe not doing that well, sometimes that character doesn't farm the stats. It's just all about the impact at the certain moments and finding those crucial fight wins alongside crucial picks at the right timing. So, you know, there's a lot of things that impact the game. So if you're a stat watcher, you're probably not exactly the best of the game, and you probably should maybe focus on your own gameplay instead of your teammates.
Couldn't agree more. Stats don't tell the story. You got to think about things like, you know, you look over at the Thing, right? He's not necessarily going to get a ton of final hits. His real value is shutting down and protecting with that damage reduction and using that Yancey Street to stop movement, right? And that's not going to be reflected on the stat board. And that, you know, every game, every story is not told through stats. It's far more told through game and team play, which is so difficult to look at until you watch the VOD or the review. So really well played. Again, like we talked about, 6 finals almost across everyone on the side of Shroud X. But I am excited to see if that'll be banned out. Will Guardians comp come back, or will it be taken away right after this break? And it went the distance like we drew it up. Scriptwriters, take it easy. Who takes home this W, progresses forward, and gets even closer to the LAN event?
Well, I think it's up in the air right now. If I had to make a bet, it would be on Shroud X. But to be honest, I mean, Tekixd had so many maps to sort of think things out, maybe like rediscover what they need to play versus Shroud X. Because, I mean, the Bucky stuff is great. It's just maybe not as good versus the Adam Warlock. I think also if we move on to Convergence, I mean, it could be better. Like, I wouldn't mind it necessarily if we go to Convoy/Convergence, that you play that Bucky stuff against the Adam Warlock comp, or let them play it. But realistically, we just can't let them get the Magneto. We can't let them get the Cap. There's a lot of tanks, I think, that are in the game. Regardless, we need to make sure that Doom does not play Star-Lord, because I feel like that is the biggest reason why Shroud X is in the position they're in. Like, the Namor stuff, sure, you could say it was that, but I just think that Doom, I'm not going to say he's like a Star-Lord one-trick necessarily, but I think he's one of the best Star-Lords in the game more so. Like, I just feel like that's his best hero. That's what we play best around. Even if we're not the best, like, Guardians comp players, Visions had some really good reses. I think he on the Adam Warlock popped off. The whole team played well around it. It does feel like we just need Doomed on that Star-Lord right now. And if it doesn't work out, whatever, right? That's a part of the game. Sometimes things don't pan out.
And this is what's so interesting in best of 5. It seems like they tested all these different compositions into this team, and this team, you know, they definitely have variability as well, but then they finally found something that works and just got a ton of value out of it. There's no way that Guardians gets pushed through again, because every time they were on Guardians, they were owning the map, and it's just that simple.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, the only way I could see them not doing the Guardians ban is simply just because they're confident on these convergence maps. But I think you're right. I think it's got some aspects of it got to get removed, or maybe you focus on the Vanguards, because Impunity was doing pretty good on Captain America. He was doing solid whenever you played the Magneto. Emma bans out first. It kind of makes sense. I think both teams don't want to play against that hero. Priority bans coming out through. We saw a Loki ban, I think, come through from Shroud X later on, as the mag is protected for Tekixd.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I don't think we're going to see a protection here of the Guardians because, I mean, unless they want to force out some bans, but it's almost just a guaranteed return ban. If you lock in, you know, say you want to keep Adam right here immediately, you're going to see Mantis or Star-Lord taken off the field, so it's just not necessarily worth it. But if it does squeak through, it's absolutely worth the run. I'm with you. Oh, yeah, of course. Dongman's going to get that Strange back, which found a ton of value over these last 2 games, locking in that Strange. Felt more comfortable, was not afraid to admit it, so that's a good time to keep that hero.
I think it looked like Shroud as well were hovering the thing, since I know Tekixd like to play that against their comp, maybe to screw over that, but they just go back to the original idea of maybe don't let them play Human Torch, considering how Avery is pretty strong in that hero. Loki bans on both sides. I imagine unless we see the Luna Protect come through, probably going to be another Vanguard, maybe on that Magneto again, or onto a Captain America. But the Luna ban's really going to come through from Tekixd again because they think they have that advantage there. Their bans really haven't changed much, Tekixd XDs.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I'm a little surprised. I mean, the final one here might change things up. I would expect to see maybe a Warlock ban here, just because it's the final, and why not? I'm not sure who else is a bigger threat for this team. I guess Luna, not a bad ban. They're feeling confident, but I guess they do feel okay going into Guardians, like you said, into something like Convergence, because, you know, those picks are easier to understand. When you're in domination and there's reses happening all over the place, it's hard to track. But when you have more of a paced fight and beat teams are resetting far more because you don't have to hold the point all the time, it is easier to track. So I'm with you that it may be more valuable and they may not need to ban it out here.
Yeah, the difficulty is Luna is good, but, you know, is it worth playing against what Shroud are trying to do with the Mantis and the Cloak and Dagger anyway? I mean, feels like their comp is pretty solid on the opposite side, and we already knew they would play the thing on the for the side of Tekixd. Maybe go for some of these fastball special plays that we've heard about from other teams and how strong that can be. So we know that comp is very good for sure. Also, Avery on that Wolverine has been disgusting. So, I mean, whatever's going to happen, you got to lay it all on the table here as we enter map number 5, Central Park. This is going to push either of these teams further in the tournament. If you don't win today, you are going to be eliminated from Ignite. And, you know, whoever wins is going to go against Envy on the other side, which is going to be a super hard game at the end of today, I believe. So we still have 2 more games left. And this one, I mean, this one definitely matters and is going to change the potential future of every single team in Marvel Rivals Ignite.
What a tug of war here with the channel points betting. Back now heavily favored in Shroud X, and now no longer a 50-50 spread. It was back towards Tekixd on game 2. It's just been back and forth, but a ton of fun, and that's just a sign of a series. And what a momentum shift again.
It's a sign of gamblers desperately trying to get their money back after losing. You know, it's like they're like, oh no, I bet on the wrong team. Gotta go back the other way. To be honest, Shib, I would not be confident in either team right now. Like, both teams I am nervous for.
Yeah, Gambler's always the healthiest mental. Of course, Avery with the downtown Tom Brady yeeting, and good tackle back into Dongman. Dongman trying to escape. Good movement there. Likely to see a Bond? Maybe not. As they do press in, the Bond goes out, I believe, buying some time there. But what a play. You talk about that fastball special and its value, and clearly showed some value there. Already at 100 charge there for the Wolverine, which can be so threatening up close.
Yep, another one available, ready to go. Doom comes in. Blasters above, I mean, bubbling in that thing as well, trying to create a lot of space in the backline, build up to those ultimates. Who's close? Avery's passive pop. Looks like only the Shroud is going to be up on ult, says nobody's going down until now. Oh no, Avery falls. Yeah, that's a good start here. Obviously, a ton of your resource in terms of damage is on Avery. Tap trying to find an off-angle play here. Just going to buy some time, stay invisible in an off-angle, and retake with the team later on. A ton of movement, and, you know, obviously the 2-second visibility recently got changed from 3 there for Psylocke. Just so far back, if you look at you can see the shadow through the screen in the back there, just waiting it out. But now the retake will be coming in, and Tap is going to do his best to try to find one of these strategists in that alleyway, and that could be a huge problem, and they are not expecting it. And here comes the ultimate. That's going to buy them some time. Fidel getting that ult incredibly quickly. Internal Bond, one of the fastest ult gains in the game. And on the opposite side, ultimates popped. Incoming clobbering time from Blurry, connected onto both Strategist, but in fact, Blur's the one to go low, saved by the Strategist. Ayabagamoto is here. No eliminations found just yet, but the Kraken impact from Avery's there. Is anybody going to fall get the reset?
No, that was more of a defensive Ayabagamoto. That was a slow down pace, and I don't hate that. I think that's a decent decision, especially when you see a ton of Qs being popped. Dongman is going to find value through as Woofles goes down as well. That's a double strat line pick, and that's very important. But Tap right back on Nuck, and then Vision says, not my strategist, takes out Tap right after, and Nuck just going to have to use that passive and rest right back.
And I think right now this Bucky is not doing enough against Triple Shroudedus. The only way, if they keep playing this Bucky at the moment, is either Brute just goes absolutely insane on the Magneto. Tap now over to the Wolverine. Interesting. So they're going for that full damaging composition. The tough part is Tap was doing so much on Psylocke, so it's kind of, I mean, he's good on the Wolverine as well. We'll see how much he can do now, but maybe that's the switch they need.
And here comes a legendary up on height. There is that Dagger Storm. Very good at countering ults without having to use much. Very similar to Bond, but still gonna find Tap through it, and that's a huge start as Tap now on the Wolverine. No longer gonna be running the Psylocke as Bucky on the Avery. There is that slight switch for those who maybe missed it. We are gonna see just Doom just owning this height. You can see that energy he's using of his booster packs is just very minimal, constantly canceling it to make sure they can escape when need be. That is a huge lesson to learn if you are playing Star-Lord. Oh, and that is just crazy, that movement with the fastball special. But down goes Tap again for Fidel.
I think it's over for Techie. A minute left. I mean, there's anything's possible. Don't get me wrong, but especially if they commit ultimates here, I'd be very worried for them moving forward. But it's just going to be wipes coming out now into Avery as well, and it's tough because Tap was doing so good on that Psylocke. So having him switch over to the Wolverine, I'm not going to say it's a mistake necessarily just yet, but I don't know. You got to feel a little worried now for Tekixd as there's 40 seconds left to go. Ultimates on both sides.
Yeah, this is going to be a who gets the most value with these ultimates check here. This is going to be roll your dice, roll the d20, who lands it, who gets a critical success, because it is dicey now. There goes that throw from Tap, not able to find much just yet, very close to last stand. I have Agamotto ready, but you know it will be matched with some strategist line ultimates. No ultimates being committed. Fidel sees the tackle there and immediately going to pop out that Bond. Dongman just going to slow the pace, out go a few. Can they get some work done? No, they cannot. Out goes the Kraken, impact lands, but still nobody falls as there is a strat line. Oh, good tackle away there on Dongmin. Dongmin very low, able to escape slightly. And there goes Doom, still holding on to that Galactic Legend until this is done. Not going to buy some time here. Impunity, use that cap ult to keep the team healthy, but Ad finds Vision. The res will come up. Doomed, going to try to collapse now, eaten by Meteor M, and it's returned onto Knock after the res. Fidel and Dongmin fall. Vision going to res back and try to bring the team back into this fight.
And they do so. Avery found Impunity though, but he's going to be at res back as well. Any eliminations for the side of Shroud is huge, but that's everybody falling back into the res. 1 tick given, 2 ticks given. Last stands here from Tap. Can it match Dongmin with his Eye of Agamotto?
Oh, and that's a mean one. Oh my goodness, Doomed! Or Dongmin, excuse me, with a 3-piece. What a play, back, right back at him. Dongmin finds Tap as well, and that could be enough. What an Eye of Agamotto, again by Dongmin, who is just clutching up with these eyes.
Did you see his camera too? Like, he is just exhausted. He is just finally done with that. And, you know, for Techie, oh, man, I just don't think that Bucky worked. Like, it's, you know, it's bad when the Vision didn't have to use the team-wide res the whole time. Like, it was only one that he had to pop. So I just feel like you're getting mismatched a little bit in this offensive side. And, you know, it's tough because it feels like for this team, Tap was doing so much on Psylocke. Avery was doing a lot on Bucky when he was not against Triple and he was against that Namor. Now that we've gone against Triple, it feels like Avery, whenever he was on Human Torch, he did a lot. Whenever they could play Punisher, they're doing a lot. But right now, Techie just does not have the answer to Shroud X. Now, it's still possible on defense, right? We've seen Shroud X get in tough situations like this. That's why we say Shroud X is one of the most exciting teams to watch in North America, because they like to make it close, whether it's, you know, good for their fans' hearts or not. They tend to make games close, so this should be a good one.
Yeah, and this is one of those clutch moments. We've seen them clutch up yesterday. Can they do it again? They need to shine here. They need to be confident. They're playing very confidently. You can see that momentum shift. We talk about momentum all the time. It is very clearly on the side of Shroud X, but you gotta quickly say, Vision, what a res of the team. Way to play patiently, give those ticks up. You don't need to rush in one by one. They retook as a team. Dongman hit an insane ultimate on the backline strategist. Yes, the last stand came out and found some value, but still was returned again by Dongman, taking out that Wolverine. And they just took over the point, electing to use that teleport early to try to make a play happen and own this high ground.
Here's that portal coming on through. And on this flank, they get that high ground first. 4 minutes left to go. Portal no longer available until the very end, as that is a 160-second cooldown. Techie, how do they find this opening pick?
At this point, I think we see somebody coming from an off angle, just waiting. Not quite sure who it is yet. Likely the Cap. from that right side. Doomed is going to start spinning shortly, and here it goes. Just waiting a little bit, trying to essentially, oh, good bond. And now it's essentially like a Magneto bubble. You can play hyper aggro, and there's Impunity, who is just waiting for the strats to switch. What a smart play. Wait for the spawn switch. Wait for the team to hold your defensive position, but Avery finds Doomed early, does have that res up. Team going to play a little bit slower now, trying to find a way. Tap already has eyes on, ready to retake that fight. Is Doomed will be in kind of a tough spot. Is he doomed? No. Does come back here as we do see the Eternal Bond once again leading off this fight. Impunity running right at the strategist. Can they find this value first? They do. Down goes two, but vision falls from Brute. The res coming right back, right on top of that ultimate, and this is looking heavy. If you want to bounce back, Tekixd in a dangerous position. Dogman onto Brute, Impunity onto Avery. Can they end this now? As the teleport will come through, and there goes the dance of the Cutterfly. Doesn't get much. Stalls. The teleport's in. Can they hold on? So close to winning it. They are at the very end now. They need to find value with these ults. Brute has body block. And out goes eye, it does find one. Can they keep this going? But that is a mean Eternal Bond, and it's going to be tough to press through that. Well done by Techie on the patience.
Well done by Techie indeed, but they're born again by Visions. He brings them back into the fight, and they also have some resurgence. Doomed as well, sitting with the ultimate versus Brute once again.
Impunity going to come back from that res as well. The team is going to be reset, and now it's all about that patience, and this is huge. Doom needs to find value. Out goes the Meteor M to counter. Way to hold on to that, but oh, going right at the straps. Great focus, good idea. Frozen though, and taken out by Brute. Oh my goodness.
What a freeze from Avery, and they're coming back. I mean, he's coming back with the fate of the world.
Oh my goodness, this is insane. Fidel committed ultimate there too. Nuck, they are down numbers, do not have that res. No ultimates available here. Besides Clutchman, can he hit that Eye of Agamotto? We'll find out shortly. Woofles finds Fidel though, and again Techie with an insane retake.
They switched roles. I mean, Woofles, formerly Luna Snow, Avery now Luna Snow. Everybody's just panicking. A minute 25 seconds left to go. This is what we're talking about. Shroud. Can you get it done? I mean, both teams at the peak of the game, I just are panicking last minute. 1 minute and 14 seconds left to go. Eye of Agamotto ready to go, and last stand available again from Tap.
You gotta stay calm in this moment. This is so stressful, and if you start to panic, it will be reflected in the gameplay. Trying to build up those strat ultimates quickly as Nuck throws out that Dagger Storm just to stand inside of it. Dongman going to take some of that damage. Does have this eye. It's all about this Eye of Agamotto now on the back line. They do have Ad ready with the Eternal Bond, and that will counter a ton, but it's all about, can you force that out early without committing too much? Techie heavily up in ult advantage here. You almost want to play aggressive because you will have that teleport left. Now the timer is finally committed as they use it at 340.
Oh, it's frozen again. Wait, hold up. Avery on the roll swap is nasty. Dogman's dead.
What a play. Vision now going to get countered out, going right back through that invis shield. Good play, and oh my goodness, can Tekixd do this? Impunity finds Avery though, and that is important. There goes the last stand on the back line, and that's huge for Tap as they find two more. It's all about this teleport now. Oh my god.
All about this teleport. Dongman, where is he right now? I mean, they have to touch at least to create overtime. Doomed has last stand ready to go, but Eye of Agamotto on this retouch is here.
You got to try to get these ults. Fidel very close. Doom does have last stand. They are going to have Woofles. Avery now also has the dance floor. The team switching up composition, trading positions, and still looking really clean. Techie is just battling here. Everything against the wall. Can they hold on? We will find out, as this is so back and forth. Out goes the invisible boundary, and Tap now trying to work his way with his tackle onto Impunity, who's in trouble. Eye of Agamotto, but it gets destroyed. Woofles goes down from Doom. Fidel, it's back and forth. Tap. Oh, Vision Doomed. It is such a trade. It's anyone's game, but it looks like they will take this. Shroud X.
Oh, what a game, Shib. What a freaking game. At the very end, the claws back and forth. I mean, cinema straight up. That was an incredible back and forth between Short Kings. Holy crap. I mean, what a series.
Are you kidding me? That might have been the closest game of Marvel Rivals in history. That was insane to witness. I am so happy to be talking over this game right now.
Oh my god, this is why we do it, man. This is why you watch. Anybody watching the stream, everybody tuning in just for the magic skins, staying for the amazing gameplay, because holy crap. I mean, I mean, we didn't need to shower after that one. Every player is probably greased to their mother and back, you know, which is a good thing because that was such a banger. Avery with the role swap with the MVP at the end, SVP at the end, 10K, 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 looking like the triple double stats, almost triple 10,000 stats, whatever you want to call it. What a series of Marvel Rivals. Shroud X win. And that's not it for them today, man. That's the tough part. They still have another game versus Envy later on for the potential to make LAN.
I mean, I am just shook. I can't wait to watch some of these plays again. That was way closer than it needed to be.
We gotta co-stream this one after Shib, honestly. Like this is like we're hopping out of here after this, and we're going right on over to Cozy and Vicky, who are waiting in the wing. I know that they've been like, just from a viewership perspective, they're having fun. They're like, oh my god, like this is one of the best series, like you called, Shib, of all time in terms of just how competitive it was. But damn, I mean, I want to see what happens now later on in the tournament, because Tekixd, one of the best unsigned teams we saw compared to Ego Death, they put up a good fight, but now they're out of the Ignite series. I mean, the future is bright, I think, for all of these players.
Yeah, you gotta say there might be a slight advantage here to playing early, especially when you're this locked. It looked like Shroud really found their footing, and you know what? It's full circle here. They may have struggled in tense situations in the past, but they looked so good out there in these last few games. They were not afraid, and they played so strong. What a series.
Yep, I mean, after this one, you got to give your hats off to everybody who played in that match, regardless of what happens in the future, right? I think it's going to be a tough matchup, I think, for Shroud X. I think what happens usually when we see close games like this, I mean, most of the time, the thing is, this tournament is so unusual. Everything that has happened in the Ignite series is so unusual, Shib. Day number one, close games across the board, right? We had favorites going down to the loser brackets, leaving the tournament with FlyQuest and Team Nemesis being gone. And with these two unsigned teams battling it out here now in the lower bracket quarterfinals, I would say, like, when a close match happens, usually it doesn't bode well for the team moving forward, right? Because you would think, okay, now they had a close match versus a team that's out of the tournament, maybe this team that is just dominating on the opposite side would play well. But I mean, this tournament has been unusual, and speaking about unusual, we're going to speak to a very unusual person. Hopefully, if it's not Dongman, we'll see. I mean, I love Dongman. We'll see him in a moment. Welcome aboard from SDX. Got to see who it is. Who's the mystery player? It's, oh my god, it's Nuck this time. What's up, Nuckster? How's it going? Congrats on what a series that was. I mean, do you have any thoughts? Anything you want to say real quick to the viewers?
I mean, is it really a Shroud X game if, like, isn't like we're about to choke? Like you were talking about earlier in your stream, like, you know, we're just always choking. Like, you know, the boss wasn't watching yesterday on stream. You know, he's watching today. We really had to put him on the edge of his seat. You know.
Well, that's what you were saying. Like, Shroud watching, he was saying he's like, it's superstitious. That almost like when he watches you guys, y'all lose. I mean, you guys are probably not superstitious about it. He's probably just, you know, it's for fun and for gaming and stuff. But I mean, you guys came through for sure in the clutch there.
Yeah, I mean, that was insane. That was one of the most exciting games of Marvel Rivals and series in general I have ever seen. What a reverse sweep, and to end it like that, dude, I'm shaking. I can't imagine what you guys are going through. And I need to ask real quick, in terms of, you guys run a ton of different compositions, and you're finding a ton of success with Guardians, but how do you decipher between running that Gamma Squids, Guardians, the Ultron boost? What's your thought there? Just test it?
Because of our DPS, we have like really deep hero pools. Like all of us has, like, I mean, in general, even me and Fidel, like really deep hero pools. We're not really a one trick for the most part. So like we can run a lot of comps, and then a lot of comps are better in a lot of situations. We kind of have protocols for, you know, if they're running this, run that. It's kind of counter comps. It's kind of the basics.
Taking a look back at the bracket, Nuck, by the way, sorry, Shib. I know that you guys are incredibly excited to go against Envy again after that series. I know that it took a lot of energy out of you and stuff, but I mean, for Envy, I mean, what a warm-up series, right? Surely, right? You got to feel like you have a lot of, you know, games under rep for sure when you go against Envy, who is like a completely different team than Tekixd, right? I mean, that's going to be a matchup. I mean, do you have any overall thoughts of that game, of you guys versus Envy later tonight?
We haven't played Envy in literal like months in an official. I think it's been a while, so it'd be definitely a fun one. We haven't played him. I think we'll definitely catch him off guard with a few things. We feel pretty ready. You know, we've had a pretty good series, so I think we'll be chilling. And I think it's like good that we had a close series. I think because we really came together at the end, so it should only look better as the time goes on.
Yeah, you guys started that momentum. It was really apparent. I mean, you guys were winning, those Guardian comps. You guys were lights out, and it seemed like you weren't going to stop ever. I know you play a ton of different strategies. You talk about not being a one trick. I've seen just you personally throughout these tournaments play almost everybody. So my question to you is, who is your favorite and why?
I mean, probably Rocket or Loki. Loki just because he's just absurdly broken, and then Rocket because he's just fun to play. Like, walking around as a small little raccoon with a big ass gun is just hilarious to me. Funny.
Hell yeah.
I agree for sure. And, you know, also just to maybe not change the topic necessarily, but, you know, for moving forward, I think things are exciting. And I literally had the question. You guys understand, Nuck, that series was so crazy, and I'm sure you guys are just like relaxing. I feel like Shib and I were like brain dead after that one, because I mean, it was so back and forth. It's one of the most incredible series. So I mean, first of all, I just want to thank you for putting on an incredible show, as you guys still have more to go. So I mean, let's just do like a softball question, because I literally forgot exactly what I was going to ask you. Did we ask you before what hero you want to add to Marvel Rivals, just to make it real easy for you on this interview, and, you know, as you get ready for your next match? Did we ask you that question before, what hero you would want to add?
You guys did in the first MRI, but not in the first one. Yeah, I said Deadpool.
Do you have a new answer?
Nah, it's still Deadpool, to be honest. I think it'd be
still Deadpool. Yeah, it makes sense. Fair play. Fair play.
Locked into that. So yeah, thank you so much for jumping in here. I know it's difficult for a lot of people to get on camera, right? And you do a great job. I appreciate you coming in and staying calm, cool, and collected, right? Especially after a game like that. But you know, you're heading into the next match. I'm sure we want to get you back there to start discussing things with your team. So quickly, anyone you want to thank, anyone you want to shout out quickly, I'll give you that time right now.
Shout out my family, always been supporting me for the month. We've been triple blocking for like weeks at this point, and it takes a lot of my time, and like, I know if they have to help me, I'll help them and stuff. It's just a lot. And then my teammates staying mentally together during all like these things. You know, we've had some very tilting moments, and it's just it can get to you, but we've stayed pretty strong, to be honest. And
awesome.
And yeah,
I really appreciate you jumping in. You know, you're always super calm, which blows my mind, especially after that. I know the job's not done. You still got another game coming up here. So good luck in that series. I'm looking forward to watching. Trust me, this has been a ton of fun to watch.
Good luck, Nuck.
Thank you.
All right.
I appreciate it, Nuck from Shroud X.